What's up, duelists? Finally, one of the decks that I've had the most fun playing in Edison format in a very long time. I've been super hyped on it for the last 2 months. We've been working on it. I'd like to shout out a few of the boys who helped me work on this. Tommy, 10FD, Swifty, ProStorm, everyone who I've asked for advice on it, everyone who I've sent the list to, who's tested it, who's given me some feedback. Shout out to all you guys who helped with this, because this list, it changes everything. I feel like this is one of the most powerful decks I've played in a very long time that is not currently a meta deck, so that's really, really cool. Anyway, before we get into things, a lot of people commented on this mat. If you want a beautiful mat like this, make sure and come to RBET LA next year. Signups are already open and they're filling up fast. You can find a link for that in the description below, so check that out. All right, 6 Samurai deck profile. You got to play Triple Spirit. This is the best 6 Samurai. Just kidding. This is one of the best 6 Samurais. So we're going to be playing 3 copies of the best 6 Samurais. What he does is he's a union monster that you can equip to one of your monsters, well, one of your 6 Samurai monsters. It gains stats, and then when it kills something, you can draw a card, which is pretty good. Doesn't even need to send what you kill to the graveyard, which is important for a lot of reasons. The next 6 Samurai that you play 3 of is 6 Samurai Yaichi. Unfortunately, I do not have a third Yaichi. I ordered it over a month ago. It still has not arrived. Bruh. Anyway, yeah, triple 6 Samurai Yaichi. This card is actually incredibly powerful. This card acts as a pseudo Shockmaster or a pseudo Cold Wave. If you summon it turn 1 and you can protect it, your opponent cannot set non-chainables into your Yaichi, because then you can just blow up their back row on your turn for free. This card is very, very, very good. This is probably the best 6 Samurai. I'm going to be honest. Well, one of the best. It's one of the top 3, in my opinion, with regards to normal summons. And then the last, which is the best, is Hand of the 6, which, once again, I ordered a third Hand of the 6. It still hasn't arrived yet. I don't know if it's because of the U.S. elections, but the mail has been super backed up. But yeah, you got to play triple Hand of the 6. This is actually, in my opinion, these two in tandem are the 2 best 6 Samurais that you can normal summon. All the other 6 Samurais that you can normal summon besides Spirit are kind of mid or bad in some cases. But yeah, this one's really good. Sack any 6 Samurai to pop a monster. The cool thing about Hand of the 6 is that you can actually have 2 of the Hand of the 6 out. This is the only one that doesn't need a different name. And also it can sacrifice itself, which is really important as well. The stat line is good. It gets under Deck Devastation Virus. That is important in some matchups. And this card is crucial for clearing things like the Duplock, Set Raikos, whatever it is you need to get through, this card gets through it. Then the last normal summons you play 1 Kamon. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say this guy, but I only play this one of as a way to clear Black Whirlwind, a way to clear Royal Oppression, and a way to clear main deck Royal Decree. Those cards are very scary. This gives you an in engine out to that. Yaichi only pops face downs. This guy only pops face ups. I've had it pop a few other things that have been pretty important, and it's very good in the mirror match. I don't know. Obviously, after this video goes up, the mirror match is going to be pretty popular. So yeah, this is one of the best cards in the mirror match. And then I play 1 Iroh. So these are the only 2 other normal summons I play. I do not play Zanji. In all of our testing, I believe 10FD said Zanji comes up when you face down Bora or Lila or someone with Honest. But in all of my testing, Zanji has not come up once for me. Hand is almost always better. If Zanji's running something over by battle, well, usually Hand or Iroh can kill it by battle. So in that case, you don't really need Zanji's stats. And then Zanji's effect is basically Hand's effect if you're crashing into something that it can't kill by battle, which is like bigger, but it forces you to go to the battle phase and play into D-Prison, whereas Hand doesn't force you to do that. So Hand is generally just Zanji, but better. So I just completely cut Zanji, and honestly, I haven't missed it. If you guys don't think that you want to play Cayman, you could play a Zanji yourself, but I just don't think that the card comes up at all. And I've been playing this deck for over a month, and it just hasn't really come up. So yeah, no Zanji. Triple Grandmaster. This is the most important 6 Samurai. You can only control one of them. I'm going to put out a little bat signal. I do want secret first copies of this. So if you have access to those and you want to sell them to me for a good price or trade them to me, hit me up in the comments or hit me up on Discord. I do want secret first copies of this card because I think they look great and they would match the rest of my deck minus the proxies, of course. This card's very good. It plays into Royal Oppression, gets to add back a 6 Samurai from your graveyard, including itself, anytime it's destroyed. So yeah, if you summon this into Solemn Judgment or Royal Oppression, it's still destroyed and still gets to add something back. It allows you to make 2 monster plays in 1 turn, and it's the most important card when triggering United and Gateway, which we'll get into at the end. This right here is probably the best 6 Samurai core. Out of all of the testing, basically everyone I've talked to on this came up with something like this, roughly. The only difference is some of them were main decking one Zanji over Cayman because they had Zanji come up more than Cayman. But I think Cayman comes up more than Zanji. It just depends on what you're scared of facing off against. Another important thing is when you factor in reinforcement of the army, you have enough normal summons. This deck really suffers from that weird like number of, you don't want too many normal summons, but you don't want too few because then you just won't see them and you'll dead draw gateways and uniteds. But I think that this is actually the perfect number. This gives you 12 normal summons with a little bit of the extra draw power that's also in this deck. It helps you see your normal summons very consistently. The issue with this deck is that it is pretty normal summon reliant. If your first normal summon doesn't stick, then what are you going to do? Well, the answer is triple Guardian Iados. This is the key. This is crucial for this deck. It gives the deck so much more burst potential. This card makes this deck go from tier 4, tier 5 to like tier 2 almost instantly. I cannot believe how good this card is. I don't understand why we never understood 2500, 2000 special summon from your hand turn 1 was not an insane card. But yeah, this card's unbelievable. You summon this card with hand, it's a 2-turn kill. You summon this card with Cayman or Iroh, it's a turn 2 kill. You summon this card and then you have Yaichi Grandmaster, it's a turn 2 kill plus you can keep back row clear. This card is just incredible. You can very easily empty your graveyard in this deck, so it's live throughout the game. The stat line is amazing, gets over Caius. It helps you deal with big monsters, which this deck had a lot of trouble doing. It helps you extend, which this deck had a lot of trouble doing. It baits bottomless, so then you could go hand into Grandmaster immediately after. It plays really well with the trap lineup. I'm going to talk more about this card and its uses in this deck once we get through the whole profile. That's the full monster lineup, not counting Rhoda, of course. I think that this is the best monster lineup. Anything else is a little bit silly. I also need to talk a little bit more about Spirit, but we'll do that after we get to the spells. So, yeah, 1 Rhoda, best card in the deck because it gets you any 6 Sam. Heavy Storm. I play this card in the main deck because this deck can sometimes struggle going second, and this is kind of weirdly an OTK deck. There's another reason I play this card, and I'll explain it when we show the traps. 3 Gateway of the 6. This card is insane. This card is just one of the best cards in the format that's at 3. I cannot believe it's at 3. That it just doesn't make sense. This card is ridiculous. I want to draw it in every hand. And same thing with 3/6 Samurai United. This card is just Pot of Greed. Like, it's insane. These cards are just so good. Like, so unbelievably good. And the fact that you get to play the full 3 copies of each of them makes this, I'm like salivating. It makes this deck so consistent. And even more consistency, triple Upstart Goblin. This makes sure that you draw into your Gateway, your 6 Samurai United, your Grandmaster, or your Iados as consistently as possible. With 12 very, very powerful cards to start in your opening hand, Upstart Goblin increases your chances exponentially for seeing one of these 12 in your opening hand. That's it for the main deck spell cards. I was trying other cards. Book of Moon is cute with Iroh. Soul Release can sometimes have some uses. Space Typhoon can sometimes have some uses, but I found that these are just the best spell cards for the deck. These are the best 11. I don't think that there are anything else that needs to be in the main except for 1 card, and that is in the side deck, and we'll talk about that when we get there. For the trap lineup, 1 Mirror Force. This card's crazy. Don't need to talk about it. 2 Bottomless. This card's kind of mid, but there just isn't really a better option, so you got to play it. Plus, this deck can struggle with Blackwings, so Bottomless is the best card against Blackwings. Double Starlight Road. So I got to shout out all the people who tested this. They told me to cut one of these, basically, and I was playing 3, and that's another reason why I also like heavy in the main, is that worst case scenario, you end up in a circumstance later in the game where you have like Gateway and you don't want a heavy, but you can just heavy and trigger your own road, and that gets you like a 2-card Stardust Dragon, which isn't that bad, especially when you have like a lot of ways to make up that lost card advantage with like 6 Samurai United, for example, or Gateway of the 6. Yeah, double road, you could play 3 and it wouldn't be the worst, but you are going to brick on it a little bit if you play 3. Triple Compulsory Evacuation Device. This card is MVP in this deck. It is so unbelievable, and it's like part of the reason why triple Iados is so crazy. There's so many hands where, no pun intended, you just have a hand and you have a Guardian Iados and you just play both of them and set a compulsory, and then you attack your opponent for 41, and then you compulse their monster, and then you attack them for 41 again, and you just win. This happens so much. This deck is so good at out-tempoing people. And this card just answers everything. It deals with every big monster. It deals with every situation you could possibly run into. The -1 doesn't even feel that bad because you have United, you have Gateway, you have so many ways to take advantage of like just having a monster stream, even playing at -1. I would play 6 of this card if I could. This card is just so good. There are so many circumstances where like you'll go first, you'll just set one of these. Next turn, you'll special Iados. they'll try to kill it. You can compulse it back, special it again. Some hands, you'll only have one monster. You'll normal the monster, get a counter on your gateway or whatever. Like, let's say you have United Gateway. You normal your monster, you'll get some counters. Your opponent will try to kill your monster. You compulse it back. On your next turn, you summon it, you search, you draw 2. It gives you an extra, like, monster, so to speak, which is super, super important. This card does everything in this deck and more. It is the best card in Six Samurais. I literally can't imagine playing the deck without it. One Solemn Judgment. Yeah, same thing as Mirror Force, is broken. The last 3 trap cards are kind of, I'm going to say, the worst cards in the deck, but they're up for debate. One of them's pretty good, and that's a Double-Edged Sword Technique. So your worst hands in this deck are going to be hands where you have, like, Hand, Spirit, Yaichi, and then it's just like a bunch of normal summons and maybe like a Starlight Road. Like, these are your worst hands. And in these hands, this is where Double-Edged Sword Technique really, really shines. Not only can you just like set your guys or summon your guys, get some counters here and there, and like kind of stall out, like kind of use them as buffers, but then once they've died, because they're going to die, they're piss weak, right? Like, that's just going to happen. You can flip Double-Edged Sword Technique and you can get like +3 instantly back. Like, you flip Double-Edged Sword Technique, maybe Chain Link 2 to dodge bottomless. Let's say you bring back Yaichi Hand. So this is one card, and then you get a pop, and then you get to pop another card, and then you get an attack out of it. So it's like you get 2 pops and an attack out of one Double-Edged Sword Technique, and it acts as a way to fix your worst hands. I've considered playing 2 of it, but I've also considered playing 0 of it, and I'll get into that when we talk about the sideboarding. Once again, the Spirit thing, I should probably touch on this before we move on. This card's really important too. Let's say you bring it back with Double-Edged Sword Technique, you can equip it to a guy, then it won't die in the end phase. But the reason this card is so good is if your hand is something like Gateway, Grandmaster, Spirit of the Six, 1 Gateway, right? You'll normal Spirit of the Six, you'll special Grandmaster, you'll get 4 counters, and then you'll be able to search another Samurai. Let's say you search your follow-up, right? Then you equip the Spirit. On your next turn, you only have 1 Samurai, so you summon the Samurai, and you'd only get 2 counters, normally. But because Spirit of the Six special summons himself back, it acts as a way to get additional counters on the next turn. So you can gain 4 counters on the turn of follow-up with this Six Samurai. It also gives you a way to just sort of like accumulate counters in stalemate situations where you just keep special summoning it, equipping it, etc., that sort of thing. I like to, in some of these circumstances, search another Spirit so that, like, for the follow-up, you can summon Spirit, special summon this Spirit, and still equip this Spirit and keep the cycle going on the counter loop. So that's very, very useful. I do think Spirit of the Six Samurai, it's just super good in this deck because of that. It gives you like infinite follow-up, basically, even if you're kind of stalled on drawing more monsters, that sort of thing. And then the last 2 trap cards besides the Double-Edged Sword Technique is the Call of the Haunted and 1 Legacy of Yatagarasu. These are the worst cards in the deck. I side them out almost every single game. Every single game. And what these should probably be are 2 of the cards from the side deck, and I'll get into that when I talk about the side deck. But that's the whole main deck. The deck feels crazy consistent. When I was first testing it, I was like, man, this is actually nuts. It's crazy how much the triple Iados increased the consistency and the power of this deck. Anyway, let's move on to the extra deck. It's very, very simple. There's not much to it. Triple Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. I'm using these beautiful ultimate rares from Japan. They look absolutely incredible. I cannot believe that Japan gets such nice cards and we are not allowed to use them. What the fuck, man? That's so stupid. Anyway, triple Stardust Dragon. This is for your Starlight Roads. And that's it. This is the only thing you can make. So this is a pretty budget-friendly deck. Obviously, you're going to want to fill your extra deck out so you have 15 extra deck monsters so your opponent doesn't immediately know you're on 6 Samurai. You're going to want to play 9 of whatever else you can get your hands on. But these are the only 3 cards or 6 cards that you can ever even really make with this deck. So that's all you need. And honestly, you could even play 1 Chimera Tech, because if your opponent fucks up and lets you Chimera Tech off their Cyber Dragon even once, then they're not going to do it again. So very, very budget-friendly deck. You can build this on, honestly, for very, very little. Side deck. 1 Great Shogun Shien. Again, another card I ordered. It hasn't arrived yet. This card is very good in some matchups. It's very good against Dragon Turbo. It's very good against decks that are a little bit removal light, that are a little bit combo focused, like Frogs, Dragon Turbo, that sort of thing, where you just need extra pressure, and his little stun effect can come up here and there, but it's mostly just like as a 4th copy of Iados and a 4th copy of Grandmaster in some circumstances, so that you can shove damage really, really fast. 1 additional 6 Samurai Iroh. There are some matchups where Yaichi is bad, so you need to keep your normal summon count the same, so you can swap out the Iroh for the Yaichi in the post board. Once again, I don't have the other copy of Iroh because it's still in the fucking mail. Oh my fucking god. Anyway, moving on. 1 Space Typhoon. This is to help you deal with back row before you start to play. Sometimes Royal Oppression can give you the hands because you are playing triple Iados, and it does stop Iados. It also stops some of your other cards, like I believe you can Royal Oppression Gateway of the Six on initial activation. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure you can. So Mystical Space Typhoon, pretty crucial for dealing with that. 1 Level Limit Area B. This card is for Blackwings and for Light Sworns or any deck that's like trying to use Lila. Most of your cast is actually 3-star or less. Let me show you guys. You got 3 Spirit. Oh, that's not Spirit. That's Grandmaster. Did I shuffle this shit? What am I fucking doing? 3 Spirit. 3 hand, 3 Aichi, you know, they all get under it. Cayman also gets under it. And you might think like, oh, how do you pump your guys up? Well, thankfully, Gateway of the Six and Spirit of the Six Samurai give you very nice ways to pump your guys up to run stuff over under level limit area B. So this is kind of a way to just shut off Lila and shut off decks like Blackwings almost entirely. They can't really play under it. Triple Dimensional Fissure. Can't be Six Samurai without 3 of this card. This card is belligerent. This card should probably be in the main. Basically, everyone I sent this list to who was testing it was like, you should probably just main the D-Fissures, 2 of them, and then side the 3rd. That's basically what everyone said. And I'm inclined to agree. I was playing this deck a ton, and every single match I sided it in. There wasn't a single match where I didn't side this in, which is crazy. That being said, if this deck picks up more popularity, if this deck is kind of the deck to beat, if this deck does end up being meta or whatever, somehow, I don't know how, but if it does, then this card is actually not that great in the mirror match. So, you know, it's food for thought. But yeah, you should probably just cut the Call of the Haunted and the Legacy of Yatagrasu and just main these 2. I like Call of the Haunted. I think Call of the Haunted is a fun card. I think it's pretty good in the deck. It lets you extend. It lets you play past your normal summon. But D-Fissure is obviously just an auto-win card in some matchups. So it's really hard to say you shouldn't play it. Another card you side the full 3 of is Smashing Ground. This deck can struggle with some resilient, like, top-end threats or just some annoying defensive threats. Stuff like, you know, the dupe lock, basically. Combos well with D-Fissure, really, really nice. You can even kill Stardust with D-Fissure smashing, which is really good. So, yeah, it kills Titanial. Titanial is a bitch for this deck. So, triple smashing is a must. I think you cannot play less than 3. I think you could even play more of this type of card. I think you could play something like, I don't know about Hammer Shot specifically, but you can maybe try Fissure or Hammer Shot, something like that. I'm not really sure, but this card for sure you need 3 of. It's really important for this deck. And then the last cards in my side deck are 1 Starlight Road and 2 Pulling the Rug. And you're probably thinking, Keegan, this is not a full side deck. And you'd be right, this is only 13 cards. The last 2 slots you can kind of just pick and choose your poison. I have a bunch of options here. You could do like Soul Release to keep your Iados live. You could do like Dust Shoot to keep your I don't know, opponent's hand dead. You could do Gravity Bind. It's like kind of worse than Level Limit though because it doesn't stop Lila. You could do like Needle Sealing to have additional sweepers against the Titanial and the Dupe Frog decks. Same thing with Torrential. You could side that. You could side Nobleman of Crossout to kill like flip monsters, even though Iroh already does that. There's a bunch of different things you could side. Honestly, the deck is pretty flexible. The only thing I would not recommend you siding is normal summons that aren't Six Samurais, because those are going to be cards that you're going to struggle to get out of the graveyard for Iados in the mid to late game, and they're also going to basically fuck up your game. Like, they're going to make your game worse because every turn you want to normal summon a Six Samurai. Every single thing in your deck rewards you for having Six Samurais in play or for normal summoning Six Samurais. So if you're ever using your normal summon resource on a non-Six Samurai monster, you're fucking up and you're making your deck weaker. That's pretty much it. That's the whole deck. We're going to get into some intense gameplay. I got a bunch of games for you guys, and I'm really excited about this deck. Once again, also at the end, if any of you guys have Secret First Grandmaster of the Six, I am looking for those. So hit me up on Discord or something about that. Alright boys, gameplay time. I played 2 8-man tournaments with this online before taking it to an IRL tournament. I'm going to show you all of the replays from those 8-man tournaments. Actually, I think one of them was a 8-man tournament, but like the last opponent didn't show up. So it's 5 matches, and then we'll get into the IRL tournament matches as well. So this is the first match against Barber is Girl. Usually the round 1 of these is kind of like, you know, shot in the dark. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be whatever. And you'll notice this hand is pretty solid, but we are going second. Six Samurai United. Each time Six Samurai is normal summon or special summon, place 1 Bushido counter on this card, max 2. This does not start a chain, so keep that in mind. But the second ability, you can send this card to the graveyard, does start a chain. So when you do summon a Six Samurai, let's say I have hand in play, and I summon Spirit, or I summon Yaichi, or whatever combination of those cards, I can still priority activate hand or Yaichi or whatever. So that's important. Keep that in mind. Opponent goes set, and we draw into compulsory evac. So this is a pretty solid hand. We've got United, we've got some 6 Sams, we got an upstart to dig further. Just going to start on upstart. You usually want to shotgun these immediately. And the reason is if you find Gateway, if you find more Uniteds, you want to get them down as soon as possible. We draw into Guardian Iados, which just makes this hand, like, really, really good. I decided to just set 2, normal summon my Hand of the 6, and pass. So this is recorded a little while ago. I think I make some mistakes this game, I'm going to be honest, and I think this might have even been one of the mistakes, because now I'm basically forced to compulse my own hand. In hindsight, I don't know, this is probably fine. I probably should have just attacked, though. Because I have the Dest, and because I have the... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have just waited on summoning entirely. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, he summons Lila. He priority activates targeting the United. I chain compulsory to put back the Lila because I do not want to deal with that shit, basically. He sets a new back row and passes. I draw upstart. Once again, you just want to fire them immediately, and I draw into Legacy. In these earlier matches, I had heavier counts of Legacy in my deck, but they were very bad. So later on, as the video progresses, I cut these from my deck accordingly, basically. And I'm down to 1 copy in the main. Honestly, should probably be 0. The only reason Legacy is even played in Edison format is if your opponent goes Typhoon and targets your Legacy. But once they know you're on 6 Samurai, they're always going to save their Typhoon for the United or the Gateway. They're never going to blind Typhoon your back row anyway. So Legacy is just kind of bad. It's just kind of a slow card in a deck that doesn't want to be slow. A normal Spirit, I send United to draw 2. I draw into Gateway. I decide to equip the Spirit. He changed Divine Wrath, and here's where I fuck up. I was just like, why did I do that? Why did I equip first? I should have just summoned the Iados. If he had Torrential Tribute, then he absolutely would have used it. He reveals he's playing Divine Wrath counter Amaryllis, which is like a really interesting and unique take on this deck, but as you can see here, it's pretty tough for me to really deal with this Vindalkian now that I have no 6 Samurai monsters, so, and I have no compulsory either. He tries to special summon Amaryllis back, but that doesn't work. I tell him that this card cannot be special summoned except by its own effect, so it just doesn't work. You can't do that. I decide to attack his set. It's a Necrogardna, and I can now set my 2 cards. And you can see here, if the Legacy was like a D-Prison or a Mirror Force, or just something else, like something active, this would be totally fine. But because it's this stupid Legacy that's like a slow card, I'm completely behind here. I'm forced to bottomless this Lila. He's going to go ahead and Foolish Burial, send Dandelion, get some tokens. He can now kill my Hand of the 6, and my Double-Edged Sword Technique will be activated. So you can see the power of Double-Edged Sword Technique here. Guardian Iados would be dead. However, I go ahead and flip Legacy first. I missequence this turn pretty badly. I do activate Gateway, but he Dark Bribes me. Maybe I don't missequence this turn. Maybe I sequence it correctly. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game. Anyway, I draw into 3rd Upstart. I'm like, well, fuck it. You're at 11,000. I have to deal 11,000. I go ahead and flip the Double-Edged Sword Technique, and I think this is where I misplay. Yeah, I think this is where I misplay. I'm pretty sure I misplayed this turn. I think. Did I not? Oh, yeah. I sack Cayman instead of, I sack Cayman instead of the hand. And what I should have done was probably sack the hand and then equip the Spirit to the Grandmaster or to the Cayman. I think that would have been better. This way I keep hand Grandmaster Iados, but I would have actually kept 4 resources instead of 3. So I think it would have been much better to sack the hand here. Yeah, this was the misplay I made. I knew I misplayed this turn, but yeah, I should have sacked the hand instead of the Cayman, because there's no difference really, other than the hand goes to the graveyard and I don't really get access to it next turn, but I end up down a resource for no reason. Yeah, we draw into Grandmaster, because once again, this guy doesn't need to send things to graveyard. He can, as long as you kill it by battle, you get to draw a card. So it even works against tokens, which is fucking awesome. And we get to get 2,500 in, and the opponent's at 1 card left. So we're just kind of crushing. I mean, he has Necrogardna, but yeah, his deck is interesting, but I think it's a little bit like off meta. So yeah, here we would have had 4 resources instead of 3. A little bit of a mistake on my part. He passes a turn back. We draw Starlight Road. We're able to attack for 1 billion, and then we could Call of the Haunted here to try and bring back Cayman, but it's not going to be lethal, so there's really no point in doing that. Just set the road, pass. He sets a back row. I just decide to attack for game, because unless he has Mirror Force, then this just wins. So he goes for Call of the Haunted, but I forget why he conceded there. How do I beat that? I forget. What was my sets? It was my own call on it, and why did he concede there? I'm confused. Anyway, yeah, whatever. He dropped to 800 or some shit. I don't fucking know. I forgot what my set was. I'm sure it was not an issue because hand can just pop his guy main phase 2 and then we can like call it back or whatever. It's not a big deal. But why did he concede there? What was our set cards? We had Starlight Road and Call. Yeah, I don't think we had game. I don't think we had game through Vendalgian. I think he brings out Vendalgian and he's fine. For that turn, obviously, but then we get to blow it up. And he says, I misplayed that, so. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, he's going first again. Probably just like tilted off of like the trying to bring back Amaryllis shit. Here, I start off with hand Grandmaster, double Iados, so the hand is great. I mean, like, you guys can already see, like, the difference in this is, like, I've opened up with, like, would normally have, like, hand Grandmaster, and you'd be forced to sack the hand, and it'd be, like, 1-for-1, which is bad, and you'd get 2100, which is fine, but in this circumstance, it's, like, hand Grandmaster, double Iados. I don't even have to sack the hand. I can save it for post-battle phase if it's not a Raikou to pop Gores. I get a billion more damage, and now my opponent has one turn to do anything. It's, like, so much better. I don't even know how to... Like, this is just fucking crazy. This is something that the deck could not do before. Like, imagine these are, like, D-Prisons or some, like, other, like, low activity, low T card. You'd have to, like, set them and, like, just chill and just hope that your opponent can't play through a bunch of back row, which... This deck already has issues with, like, back row sweepers, like Trunade and Heavy Storm. So, like, why are we overloading on those types of cards? You know what I mean? Whereas Iados is just, like, make him have it and give him as little time as possible to have it. We talking to Raikou, he pops an Iados. But, like, still, dude, that's 4,600 damage. And if he has Gores, we just fucking pop it. Like, that's insane. Set Mirror Force, say good luck, have fun. Here comes Lila. Okay, Lila pops the back row, but then, like, now what? Foolish Plague. Okay, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Stack. Special summon. Make Goyo Guardian. No. Okay, so it would have been a little bit tricky had he made Goyo Guardian and taken our hand to the 6. We would have had to top deck something to get out of this situation. But the fact of the matter is, it forced him to have a 1 of spell card and a way to break our back row to even play. Like, he had to have all of this. As it stands here, he goes Bryonic. He pitches Dandy to bounce Iados to try and kill it. And we're still in a pretty bad spot. Like, we can't really get over this Bryonic because now our Iados is dead because it's in our hand and there's monsters in our grave. So this is not a terrible circumstance for him. Plus, he has, like, a few more blockers. He passes, we draw into United. I normal summon Yaichi. I get a counter on United. I attack over the 2 tokens and just pass. He can now bounce the United or bounce, like, the Grandmaster to kill it. He decides to bounce the Grandmaster by pitching Amaryllis and attacks over the Yaichi. However, he doesn't bounce the United, which I feel like pitching Titanial here to bounce United would have been really good. That being said, we kind of brick. We don't draw into something. So we're forced to draw a new card, and we do draw into Compulsory. And this is why Compulsory is really important. Cards like Bryonic, cards like Goyo Guardian can give this deck a lot of trouble, and that's why you got to max Compulsory, just to deal with Bryonic, basically. Anyway, set, pass. He goes ahead. Bryonic tries to bounce back row. He flips Bountiful Artemis, attacks for 16, attacks for 23. I just compulsive Bryonic here. So now we're instantly kind of in the game. We just need to draw a guy. He brings out Amaryllis. We draw Gateway. Still missing the guys. And this is why it's so important. I think in this version of the list, I was still playing 3 Starlight and I was only playing 2 hand. So that's why I ended up going to the 3rd hand of the 6. But yeah, I ended up conceding there because we are dead to the Amaryllis plus the Bountiful Artemis. That being said, game 3, we open up the Gateway, we open up the D-Fissure, we got a monster to summon, we got Starlight Road. Deck looks crazy, right? Like, look at this. This hand is nuts. It's just stacked. It's all good cards. Activate, normal, set, pass. He sets a bunch, passes. We draw another Gateway, kind of dead right now. Just attack. Keep it simple. So he's going to target the Dimensional Fissure. And yeah, if we had another 6 Samurai here, obviously would have been insane. But once again, we didn't. So yeah, target D-Fissure, mill 3. He's going to mill his Bountiful, his Titanial, and his 7 tools. So pretty scary, these counter traps against our deck. He's going to go ahead and activate Foolish Burial, send Phoenix in Cluster, End-Phase bring it out, sort of wall up. We draw Solemn Judgment, so still kind of useless. Just going to attack over the Phoenix in Cluster, take 800, set Solemn Pass. I need to be really careful about using this because he does play Dark Bribe. So we could easily get burnt out if we use it too soon. He sets another monster, and we finally fucking draw a guy. So now we summon hand, and the nice thing about Gateway is, like, even if he has Bottomless, even if he has Torrential, no matter what he does, except for Solemn Judgment, as long as the summon is not negated, I will get counters. Unlike Black Whirlwind, where it has to check the attack of the monster on resolution, this card doesn't need to do that. It just gets counters instantly. So I can... He's going to Dark Bribe me, obviously, but it doesn't matter because I still have another gateway. So I'm going to go ahead and summon Yaichi, and I can priority Yaichi target his back row. So priority target, he's going to chain Divine Wrath, special summon Vendalgian, and because he destroyed a monster, he can special summon a monster from his grave. So he could bring out Bountiful here. He could bring out the Plague. He decides to bring out the Plague. It doesn't really matter what he brought out because we would have ran it over with whatever the Grandmaster that we search. Search Grandmaster, and you can see here the importance of smashing ground, compulsory, that sort of thing. You sometimes just need to clear a dude. You only need one turn usually to clear a dude. And then once you've cleared the dude, it just like, they're under infinite pressure. He's going to get Dandy. This would pop like a Raikou there instantly because of his effect, showing the power of Iroh. This is just a good match to showcase what the cards do. Obviously, my opponent's not playing the most competent deck. This is kind of a round one online tournament trying out stuff, but you get to see the strengths of this deck and like how it works. He has trade in, draw 2. He has normal debris, bring back Dandy, tries to make Black Rose, tries to blow up. We got Starlight, and that's just going to be the game, honestly. He decides to stack for Plague. He tries to synchro into Catastor, and I just let it resolve. Like, there's really no reason for me to even solemn this. I can just Mirror Force if I need to. I can just normal summon hand. I could just pop it with hand. I could do a million different things here. There's no way he's coming back from this game. It's just over at this point. 2 removal spells plus an active gateway plus a monster in hand to get a next search. It's just going to be done. It's just going to be cooked. So, yeah, that's going to be round 1 of this 8-man. And then moving on to round 2 of this 8-man is up against him. And I lose the rock, paper, scissors. So, once again, going second, but can't really complain because this deck is just... look at this shit. It's pretty good. I draw into Iroh, and I'm like, all right. Look at this. It just draws nuts. Now, if you replace the Guardian Iados again with like any other like inactive like spell or trap card, this hand starts to look a lot worse. But because this hand has 60, wait, no, how much is that? 7,100 points of pressure, plus a Pot of Greed, plus a Starlight Road to stop comeback plays. Like, come on, man. Like, that's just crazy. It's like, give him one turn. So here I actually mess up, I think. No, I don't mess up. Special. I attack with the Grandmaster for some reason. I think I just misclicked, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? Or I was, like, multitasking. I should have attacked with the Iroh. If I just attack with the Iroh, this game's over. But I clearly was, like, on my phone or some shit, and I just forgot that Iroh was in play. I don't know, just on some dumbass shit, dude. Just completely misclicked or whatever. For some reason, I was like, I don't even know what I was thinking. I realized it almost immediately. I was like, did I not attack with Iroh? And I checked my logs, and I was like, oh, I didn't attack with Iroh. But he's able to Magical Merchant to Ultimate Offering, and that could be pretty scary for us, because like Caius is like a pretty good way of taking this hand down. We're only going to deal a little bit less damage now, but the Ultimate Offering is significantly worse now that he can only use it 2 times. So, yeah, I'm going to set the Gateway, set to pass, just like kind of conceal my Starlight Road from Space Typhoon if possible. He activates Gallus, mills Cyber Dragon, deals us 1,000, pitch Special Swap Frog, sends Treeborn, bounces Gallus, activates Gallus again, mills Machina Fortress, we take 2,000, normal summons Junk Synchron, so he's having a pretty good hand here, and we can't really deal with this Stardust super effectively. I mean, we can crash into it, but it's going to kill one of our monsters for sure, which sucks. So there goes Iroh. That being said, we could call Iroh to get ourselves some Gateway counters to pump over the Stardust now, so I'm not really bothered. He sets back row passes. I activate Gateway. I flip call. I get Iroh. I chain the 2 counters. Or I don't chain the 2 counters. I get the 2 counters. I pump up the Grandmaster, and then I swing with the Grandmaster. Here he flips Ultimate Offering. He pays 500. He normals Junk. Brings out Swap Frog. Doesn't really matter. Replay occurs. He's going to pay another 500. Sack for Caius, target the Grandmaster. I'm like, all right, I'll just run over all your guys. So, yeah, Iados once again just like putting on that work, you know. Kill both guys. Oh, I can't get over the Dupe Frog, but that's fine. I just felt the need to kill the Guardian. Did I not attack with Iroh? Dude, what am I on this game? I literally must have been multitasking. What? Did Iroh not attack? Iroh was supposed to attack the Swap Frog, and then... Oh, no. Wait. I know what I did. I didn't kill the Dupe Frog intentionally, because I didn't want him to search... I didn't want him to search something and then have, like, a comeback play. I figured I can kill the dupe frog and win the game next turn, but I don't want to give him the opportunity to search something like a swap frog. I don't really know. I don't really know what the comeback play would be, but I just didn't want to give him the opportunity to mount that comeback, basically. So here I just compulse to Stardust. I figured, like, no matter what, I can win, but he top decks Substitute, and I'm like, dog, what the fuck? So, yeah, really interesting. Goes for the soft lock, soft dupe lock, and passes back to us. We draw into Legacy, once again proving this card is fucking useless. Should have just been a hand of the 6. Yeah, I think this is the version that was playing 3 Legacy. He sets up Unifrog, he attacks. I decide to just let it happen. He pops the Legacy. Can't chain it because it's during the damage step. Dude, such a dog shit card. Anyway, he banishes, special summons El Tannen, clears our whole board, and I'm like, bro, what is going on? All because I didn't pop that dupe frog that one turn with the Iroh attack. Dude, this game is such a fucking mess. I should have just attacked this set monster with the Iroh. I'm just showing you guys this because this deck is crazy, but I'm just playing it like shit, and it's like doing fine. Like, I'm playing like a total noob, and I'm like doing okay. Attack with the hand, sets a monster, summon Yaichi, and that's going to be all she wrote. Like, the amount of pressure you put people under with just double Iados, or even single Iados, is unbelievable. It's so strong. So, yeah, cool brew from Tim. He's been working on this for a while, so that's a cool deck. It plays Machina as well. It's kind of like a Machina Frog offering deck. And normally this would be like something that like this deck struggles with, but holy shit, what a hand. Just fucking belligerent. Draw 2, gateway, search, grab a hand, gateway, search, probably. Oh, I upstart before using the other gateway search. I'm probably thinking of pumping up Grandmaster. Yeah, I'm not even dragging and dropping the counters, but I do say in the chat that one of the gates has 4. I activate double upstart. I try into another fucking gateway. I pump up the Grandmaster. I attack the fortress to kill the gear frame. And battle phase, pass turn. I don't smash and ground the fortress because I don't want him to just bring it back. I want to smash and ground it and get the battle phase out of it, basically. So, like, if he has Machina Force in hand, this basically gets us a free battle phase by waiting. Anyway, he activates Gallus. He pops us for 800. He sacks for Sphere of Chaos, which is pretty cool. He searches Puppet Plant. I'm like, oh shit, am I going to die? If he just takes my Grandmaster, I kind of fucking die. Anyway, I use Iroh's effect to pop Grandmaster because I can always add back the Grandmaster, then special it, then kind of go crazy that way. I decide to activate Smashing now. Activate. Now I start to drag and drop the counters. I search Grandmaster from deck. I probably should have just added it from grave to keep the Iados live off the top. That was a big mistake on my part. But I figured maybe I can deck thin. I can always add back the Grandmaster. This is infinite pops and infinite counters too, by the way, as long as there are monsters in play worth popping. I just do this to try and draw 2. I draw into Iados, special, add back Grandmaster, activate Gateway, add back Grandmaster, special summon Iados, battle phase, attack. You guys see what I'm saying? Like, this deck is just stupid. It's like, I went from, like, I have 11 cards. Like, what is even happening? Like, is this Edison format? Is this, like, the same format we've been playing? Like, I'm playing this game, like, kind of like an idiot, and I'm just, like, absolutely getting, like, rewarded like fucking crazy, and I just have, like, the nuts. Like, what is happening? Why is this deck so good? Is it really just Guardian Iados that makes this deck so crazy? He said insanity. I said I opened crazy. I did open good. I had double gateway, Samurai Grandmaster, but just like, goddamn. And then the end of this 8-man, the opponent didn't show up. I think the last opponent didn't show up. So, you know, starting off, the deck is, dude, I'm misplaying and I'm winning. That's how you know your deck is, like, scary. That's how you know your deck is real, is when you're playing bad and your deck's just like, nah, bro, I got you. All right, second 8-man. I'm going to show you guys. First round is up against Kick 1-3. I lose rock, paper, scissors, so I'm 0-3 in rock, paper, scissors. Just keep going second, but the deck is still fire. Open up, double edge, so a little bit, like, kind of bricked hand. Bottomless, like I said, is, like, it's one of the most mediocre cards in the deck for sure. Like, it's really not good. And opponent opens up with 1-for-1, so I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to play through the fucking dupe lock, man. This is not going to be an easy game. I think I might even just concede this one. I don't even fucking remember. Swap Frog sends, specials dupe frog, sets back row. I draw United. I upstart. I don't hit a Samurai. I upstart. I don't hit a Samurai. I have double Iados, but I'm just like, man, I just can't do anything. So I'm just going to set Bottomless Pass. He's going to summon Unifrog. And I was just like, You know what? I don't see myself coming back from this game because he has the Fishborg and he can build up a lot of advantage really, really fast. And the Unifrog popping my bottom list means I'm going to be super, super behind. So even if I did draw into something, playing through that back row, like, here, let me just refresh so I can show you guys exactly why I conceded there. I figured it would be better to save what I was playing and not show him what I was playing than play out a long game one. Because I think this matchup is pretty insane post-board with, like, Dimensional Fissure and shit. So, yeah. So, like, he opens up 1-for-1, right? Which is already fucking crazy. And then he has Substitute as well. He's double-toed 1-for-1. Just, like, really, really good hand. You see in his hand, he's got Regeki Break. So, keep this in mind, right? I draw United. I upstart. I know better. I know what traps these Fishborg decks play. I know because he didn't bring back the Fishborg and he didn't do all of that. It means he has one good card, one card that he needs, and he has one discard for a discard trap. So because of the way he played his turn, I know he has a discard trap. So even if I draw a Hand of the 6, which is like best case scenario here, I have to summon Hand of the 6, Special Grandmaster. He has to not Regeki Break the Hand of the 6. He has to Regeki Break like the United or something like that. Special Grandmaster, then United, draw 2 cards. That has to somehow, he has to somehow have like a stroke and not use his Regeki Break there. And then I can summon the 2 Yados, and then I could pop the Dupe Frog, but he could just set up another Dupe Frog. So even if I draw my best possible card here, he's going to have Dupe Dupe Uni with the discard trap to interrupt my only comeback play, and I'm never going to win this game. Like, that's basically the way I see it. I would need to, like, literally draw go for so many turns. I'm just going to bleed cards in the inner rim that it's not worth showing him what I'm on. And I can just, like, take my free wins game 2 and game 3. So, yeah, I'm just like, how many times are they going to open up 1-for-1, right? Like, how many times can he do that consistently? Probably, like what is the chances of opening 1-for-1? Like, maybe 10%, maybe 9%, something like that. So if you factor that, I'm just like, all right, I'll just take my 91%ers for the next 2 games, and I'll have D-Fissures and not show him what I'm on. I think that that's like a tactical concession that, I don't know. I don't know if it's correct or not, but yeah. Open up with Pulling the Rug, which is really nice. We got a lot of monsters. I think I just sandbag. I don't think I play anything. Yeah, because I want to get value out of the Spirit, and I want to get value out of the autos. I don't want to commit anything and have it get soul exchange, that type shit. He summons Swap Frog. I just rug it because he's so far behind now. He has no Treeborn and Grave, and then I've got all this stuff, and if he doesn't have 1-for-1, he can't make plays. This Frog deck is so fucking normal summon reliant. It's crazy. If you just stuff normal summons, you just win. Like, that's literally it. Summon, special, attack. This plays through Gores because of the hand. Attack. I don't know if I attack with the Guardian. I think I do. I attack with the Guardian. He doesn't have Gores. Pass the turn back. He sets, passes. I draw Gateway, which is pretty good. I just hand pop his guy. His Dupe Frog. He gets to add back. It's like, it's fine. Unless he has Torrential here, then I just win. So, activate Rhoda, grab Yaichi, normal Yaichi, priority pop, and then attack for game. So, you can see how this deck deals with frogs, man. It's just like fucking crazy. The post board is just like, okay, have 1-for-1 or lose. And even in the case of having 1-for-1, sometimes you can just break it because you go like Di-Fi Smashing Ground or just Smashing Ground alone. So yeah, this matchup is pretty good against frogs. You can just put 8,000 into play and it plays through Gores because you have Hand of the 6. That's pretty much that. He sets a monster, passes. I upstart Goblin. I draw on Spirit of the 6, which is obviously insane. With Grandmaster, it's just a free +1/+2. So yeah, attack. Kill a monster and draw a card. So free +2. Drawn to Smashing Ground. I've got Solemn. I got Compulsory. Play through that. He's at 9,000, but we have a lot of pressure, and that's all that matters. He brings back Treeborn. He passes. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm getting another draw off of my Spirit. So, special summon Yados, normal Iroh, attack the Treeborn. He Mirror Forces. I Solemn. I draw an extra card. So, yeah, another plus for me. Attack for 25. I decided to attack through the Gores because I have Compulsory to deal with it and Smashing Ground to deal with it. And I also drew into hand, which makes it very hard for him to come back. He does have the enemy controller here, but I've got Compulsory, so he's going to try and take my Grandmaster. I decided to let it resolve because I'm like, okay, if he Monarchs me, I probably shouldn't have let this resolve. I should have compulsed my Grandmaster. That was pretty stupid. He brings back Treeborn Frog. He attacks the Yados, and one thing that you guys should know, that is a ruling with this deck, is that because I control the Spirit of the 6 Samurai, I get to draw the card. He doesn't control the Spirit of the 6 Samurai, so him killing my monster just draws me another card. So
The Spirit of the Six has drawn me 3 cards this game. Like, absolutely crazy card. Like, could you name a better card? Like, I don't even think so. I don't even think there's a better card. It's like basically this. He ends battle phase. I'm like, all right, now that I got my card draw, I'm going to compulse the Grandmaster at the end of the battle phase. You know, we lost our Eodos, we lost our Spirit, and we lost our Compulsory, but we drew 3 new cards, so we still have even cards with our opponent, despite him having a pretty good exchange there with the enemy controller. He sets. I go ahead, activate United, normal, priority pop. He chains book. Okay, special Grandmaster, draw 2 new cards. Drawn to Smashing D-Fissure. Beautiful. Beautiful. Just activate the D-Fissure. Clear both monsters. Going to pop it with the effect, even if it's Snowman Eater. It's getting banished. Attack over the Treeborn. Banished. Pass the turn back. Good luck. Have fun. This deck is so sick. It's just like so disgusting. When your opponent has no back row, you kind of just get to do everything. You kind of just like, oh, Pot of Greed. Oh, fucking draw 3 cards off of Spirit. Oh, just like resolve all of my stuff. Everything is going through. And honestly, when you go first, it's pretty insane too. We have a little discussion here about it. But yeah, that's round 1 of the second 8-man. Round 2 of the second 8-man's up against Guy 23. Now, Guy 23 has a winning record against me. So this is actually going to be probably a tough matchup. He knows my playstyle pretty well. I think he has a good read on me. He usually plays Lightsworn, which is a scary matchup for this deck. And yeah, he opens up Charge the Light Brigade, and he finds Lumina. So he's able to set up a pretty good start here with the Gold Sark on JD, and normal Lumina, pitch Special Wolf, end phase mill 3, and he mills Necro too. So it's not looking good for the home team here. I go ahead and upstart a couple times, drawn to Legacy, drawn to 6 Sam United. Man, Legacy sucks in this main deck. It should be like D-Fissure. If I could activate a D-Fissure here, I'd clear his whole board. Oh my god, imagine he couldn't even Honest me. He'd be able to Necro Garden on attack and like keep one of his guys, but like he'd still lose one of his guys and it'd be banished, and then he wouldn't be able to set up his grave further for the JD. Oh my god, dude. Imagine the main deck D-Fissure here would go crazy. As it stands, I forget to activate United because I'm brain dead. I'm tilted because he milled Necro. I attack the Lumina. He actually lets it die. I attack the Wolf. He does have the Honest, so yeah, even more arguments for cutting the Legacy for a main deck D-Fissure. Unfortunately, Double-Edged Sword Technique not going to be live because we don't have another 6 Sam. I've punted this entire game into the sun by not activating United. I think I was thinking like maybe he has like he Necros into Celestia and I don't want him to pop United, but it's stupid. It's just stupid. Set 3, here comes the Celestia. I've already lost this game. So I've lost game 1. It's not looking good for the home team. He goes ahead and targets. Doesn't hit the Chainable. Oh, he does hit the Chainable. I decided to bounce the Celestia. He brings out his Wolf that he milled because he's the luckiest son of a bitch to ever do it. Did he not Necro Garnet? Oh, he used Honest, so he still has his Necro Garnet. Jesus Christ. He's getting JD next turn. Yeah, I Legacy into Road, and I decided to concede. So, obviously, Legacy, just showing how pathetic it is, that game. And showing how useless it was. That being said, they're out of my fucking deck for this game, I believe. Could be wrong. But we started out pretty strong. I mean, we got Gateway, we got Grandmaster Spirit, we got Road. So, can't really complain about this. This is definitely one of those matchups where you get to leave roads in, or side in the third road, and it's usually pretty good. Set, equip, pass. Normally, Compulse is pretty dog shit against Lightsworn, but it's like fine against them in this circumstance because you can bounce Lila and then just win the game the next turn with like Eodos pressure, that sort of thing. He has Recharge, Pitch Wolf, Mill 2, so pretty good setup. He's got 1 fairy, 2 names. And set monster is kind of scary. We did search Yaichi to be able to pop like Beckoning Light and shit. But I maybe should have searched Iroh or just held the search. I'm not sure. He goes set, pass. Maybe I should have searched Cayman too to play around Royal Decree. As it stands though, we can special the Spirit. So normal, priority pop, get the back row. But he's going to chain Typhoon on the Gateway. And I'm like, okay, now I don't need to special my Spirit so I can get a draw. He's going to Threatening Roar. I'm going to set my Compulsory, so I've got double Compulsory Road, plus like some pretty good pressure. He's going to flip Raikou, hit Yaichi. I'm going to chain Compulsory to save my Yaichi, because if I draw United or a Gateway, I'm going to need it. Plus, Compulsory is like kind of mid in this matchup anyway, so this is what it's here for, basically. His mills are kind of ass, which is very nice for us. He sets a back row. We normal summon Yaichi and just priority pop the back row. He chains it. It's Royal Decree. I think if I want to chain Compulsory on any of my guys, but I decided, okay, if he has Honest, it's going to trade with Spirit, and that's totally fine. So I'll just attack with Grandmaster and get my draw. So I get to draw a new card. I draw another Grandmaster. Yaichi can't attack because he activated his effect. I believe that's how it works, right? Monster cannot attack during the turn you activated this effect. Yep, so Solar Recharge is played. Pitch Lila, draw 2, mill 2, mills Christia. So now 3 fairies and 3 names, but still 1 shy on each. Sets monster passes, attack with Grandmaster, draw another card. I could have hand popped the set monster. I was a little bit... I don't know why I didn't do that. That was pretty stupid, now that I think about it. Attack for 13. Yeah, that was pretty dumb. I don't know why I didn't do that. He just concedes because we have too much pressure and he can't hang, so... Yeah, he doesn't have a boss monster. So, pretty lucky on our part. Anyway, this game we open up with D-Fissure, which is nice. Card's going to be good. Normal Jane, End-Phase Mill 2, and he hits Wolf, and I'm like, fucking, why? Why is this always the case? Why is it my opponent's milled 5 times and 4 of them have been good? I don't understand. We draw Iroh, which is like fine, I guess. I wrote a first for Spirit because if I draw into Grandmaster, then it's the best one to have. Plus, hand isn't really doing us too much favors. That being said, I maybe should have searched hand. I don't know. I think hand gives us clear both, whereas Spirit gives us clear 1 plus draw a new card. If we draw Grandmaster, that is. I upstart, and I don't find Grandmaster or yugioh. So, the statistics of that are... Let's look it up. Because I want to show you guys... the statistics, and I also want to know for sure. So, let's say we're playing a 37-card deck because of Upstart Goblin, right? We're playing 6 cards, and we've drawn 6 cards. Let's just say it's the opening hand, right? Or we've drawn 7 cards because of the Rhoda deck thing. Whatever. What are the odds to have 1? The odds to have 1 or less is 75% in your opening 7 cards. Let's just say in the opening hand, opening 6 cards, it's about 70% to have Grandmaster or yugioh here. So this is an unlikely circumstance, but not a completely unreasonable one. You're roughly 70% to have them in the opening. I decided to just set 3 and pass and just like wait and hope we draw a Grandmaster. Because honestly, this is a tough situation to be in, and we can't get over any of his monsters as it stands, and just setting monsters to kind of bleed card advantage isn't really great. I could have set Yaichi here to like potentially buy myself an extra turn later on. Anyway, he decides to go for Heavy Storm, and I have Starlight Road. So all of the sudden, like, him being in a kind of dominant position here, he has 2 monsters I can't beat, turns into him being in a losing position immediately. He can't Honest over this. He can Celestia me, but I can negate it. Actually, he can't even Celestia under Dimensional Fissure because the mill is cost. So he can't get over this Stardust. There's just nothing he can do to get over the Stardust. Which is really funny. Outside of like Plague. But then he Synchros. He can't even Bryonic pitch a monster. He has to pitch a Spell or Trap to Bryonic. He loses one of his monsters in play, and he loses whatever he summons off the bottomless. So it's just like insane exchange for me being able to road that Storm. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously if you're him, like, you don't know what my back row are. You don't know what my game plan is. So far, you've seen Legacy, you've seen Compulsory. You maybe think it's just a bunch of chainables, you know? Maybe you're just coping and you're just like, okay, what are the chances he has the road, you know? But I don't know. I like, if I'm in this circumstance, like, the risk reward here is like, if you activate Storm and I don't have road and I have like a compulsory, I compulse the wolf, and that's like pretty bad for you. Like, it's not terrible. Let's see his hand. I guess it's not terrible. Yeah, I guess it's not terrible because he still has Foolish for wolf. Yeah. Yeah, it's not terrible. I think he should have just attacked. I think he messed up by not doing that. He was obviously scared of Mirror Force. He was obviously scared of, like, Deep Prison and shit. But, like, he felt that he needed to clear the D-Fissure in order to play this game because it shuts off his entire hand. And if I'm ever able to find the outs to Jane and Wolf, then he has no plays. So it's kind of a situation where he's kind of forced to do it. And I understand why he went for Heavy Storm here. I don't know if I would have with his hand, but I probably would have. I probably would have thought, like, if the Jane and Wolf fall, which is very likely that they do if I have 2 back row, right? Then his whole hand does nothing. So Yeah, it's probably a risk worth taking. The thing is, though, is he instantly loses now. Like, he has no game. He double sacks for Christia because, once again, you can't activate Celestia under D Fissure because it's a cost to send the cards to the graveyard. It's the same reason you can't activate Charge of the Light Brigade under D Fissure. Because it doesn't know that the cards you're going to mill are not monsters or not. And you can't pay costs that you can't pay, basically, if that makes sense. You can't activate cards where you can't pay the cost. So, yeah, we have Bottomless for the Christia. His board is now clear. There's no Gores for him. He could set the Reckless. He passes to us, and we draw Yaichi. So we were not getting out of that anytime soon. We were not getting out of Jane Wolf anytime soon. Had he just left both in play and it, like, attacked us, he would have possibly won this game just based off of that pressure alone. That being said, he didn't do that. And he didn't do that because, once again, his entire hand is shut off by the D-Fissure, so he has to out it, right? I decide to attack for 17 and 25. I'm just trying to close this game out as quickly as possible, and this is the most damage. Plus, it's the least likely for him to be able to attack over Iroh, so that next turn I can summon Spirit and equip it to my Iroh and run over something like a Set Arcus or Set Honest. He draws into Cyber Dragon, which he can special summon to run over the Iroh. He draws into Solar Recharge as well. So he recharges, draws into Mirror Force, Honest, mills 2. This is not a cost to mill 2. It's part of the effect, so you can use Solar Recharge under Dimensional Fissure. He's going to go ahead and special summon the Cyber Dragon, run over the Iroh, but again, really not that big of a deal. We draw into hand. Honestly, kind of shocked he didn't set the Mirror Force. Maybe he thought he could use the Honest here. Yeah, why didn't he set the Mirror Force? That would have been really bad for us, basically. It would have been really bad. But he skips his draw phase. He's forced to set the Mirror Force. We would have eventually drawn a Smashing Ground for the Cyber Dragon, and he was draw locked, and he's completely shut off by the D-Fissure otherwise. So it would have eventually been fine. We could just chump block with like our extra Spirit in the meantime. So that wouldn't have been a lost game from that position. But yeah, can't use Honest under D-Fissure. So yeah, we ended up winning this one. A couple of very difficult situations. A couple of very like interesting like gambly situations where it's just like you don't know what my back row are. So how do you approach this? You don't know if I can clear your Jane and Wolf. Like, what is the play, basically? And understandable, like, because even if we have, like, let's say, even if we have, like, some 6 Samurais in our hand, or whatever, if we just draw an Iados or a Grandmaster, we break his board, or a Smashing Ground. Like, we have 9 cards that just break that board. So it's, like, it's very understandable from the opponent that he would want to clear the back row and just turn on his hand, because otherwise he's never winning the game if we draw one of these very commonly played cards in our deck. So I understand why he went for the Heavy Storm. I probably would have gone for it too if I was in his situation. That being said, I would have set this Mirror Force as well. Very, very close match. And this is probably one of the hardest matchups just because they have such an easy time with Lila, Celestia, Raikou, JD at like just getting rid of your board. That being said, the power of D-Fissure in post-board situations, the power of Road at defending your board, and the speed that you get from like just having a fast 2500 summon. In this game, it was Stardust Dragon, but in other games, it can be Iados or Grandmaster or whatever. Can really, really apply pressure, especially under D-Fissure. This is also another, like, probably matchup that gets significantly better if you're main decking the D-Fissures. All right, moving on. This is the finals of this 8-man. So, currently, in, like, little tournament games, we're 4-0. But, you know, it's kind of just like, Lightsworns and Frogs is, like, yeah, I guess they're pretty meta decks. Yeah, I guess they're pretty meta decks. Haven't faced off against Birds yet, but I do in the actual tournament that happens later. And let me tell you, this deck fucks up Vayu Turbo. Like, that matchup is, like, surprisingly good. Anyway, we upstart, we draw into Legacy Road. Hand's a little interesting. I decided to just set, pass. I don't need to play into a Torrential that instantly loses me the game if I don't have to. So opponent's going to summon Cyber Valley. I'm going to draw into Compulsory. I'm like, all right, word up. Special Iados. That baits the Bottomless. And now I can go Yaichi into attack. And he's going to activate Cyber Valley to draw a card. I decide not to commit my Grandmaster here, because if I draw into United or Gateway off of my Legacy of Yada, then I can special summon it. That being said, my dumbass should have just activated the Legacy to dig towards a United or Gateway right now. So I don't know why I waited on that. I think I was just trying to bait him into like Typhooning that instead of the other 2 cards I have. He pitches Special's Fortress, so that's pretty scary for us. I decide to compulse his Fortress. It's a 1-for-1, but he hasn't spent his normal, so it's pretty bad use of compulsory. He decides to just pass the turn. I draw into Iroh. I do flip the Legacy here, and we do find the United. So I wouldn't have found it last turn if I activated it, but we end up finding it, so I get paid off for saving my Grandmaster there. I normal, special, send, draw 2 cards, find Mirror Force, and yeah, just the E-Autos being able to bait the bottomless so that Grandmaster sticks around, allows us to play through Gores. We attack with everything. He does have the Gores, and I'm just like, all right, set Mirror Force, pass. He sets his back row. I don't know if I should have popped these. I could have sacked Hand and Yaichi to pop both of these, but I was thinking, like, I can always do that next turn, and setting Mirror Force with Starlight Road backup means, like, maybe he gets a little bit too, like, antsy. Because I compulse the Machina Fortress, he might think that, like, oh, what are the chances he drew Mirror Force? And he might just switch everything and play into the Mirror Force. So I was hoping to keep my pops around for that, because he could potentially be playing Battle Fader as well with Cyber Valley and Quick Draw in his deck. I don't know. This is all, like, interesting thought process, but he ends up just switching one, playing around Mirror Force, which is pretty smart. There's Mirror Force there. He passes the turn back, so not the best use of Mirror Force. I would have liked to catch that Machina Fortress with it, but Yaichi is going to be able to allow us to pop these back row here. Hand is going to be able to pop the monster. I'm going to normal summon Iroh, and yeah, that's just game, unless he has anything. Even if he had Mirror Force, we have Road, so yeah. Crazy fast deck. I think this deck is so fast, it's crazy. Yeah. He's going first. Once again, Cyber Valley gets summoned. I draw into Hand and Grandmaster. So my hand is actually, like, pretty fucking strong here. I just normal hand, swing at the Cyber Valley. He gets to draw one. I figured trading 1-for-1 is, like, fine because... or is not good because his hand looks obviously slow. He, like, didn't play any other cards, and he was forced to normal summon Cyber Valley turn 1. That being said, I could have traded 1-for-1 to, like, stop him from digging out of this situation. It's possible he's, like, on Quick Draw or, like, on Dandelion. He's trying to find the other copy of it. But I figured if he already had Dandelion, he'd be setting that to set up the tokens for the Cyber Valley activation. I don't really know. I just felt that it wasn't the right time to spend my hand pop. I just set compulsory because I don't want to play Solemn Judgment if he heavy storms me. So I decided to compulse my own Hand of the 6 on the chain. And he reveals that he did have Gear Frame, so he decided to summon Cyber Valley turn 1 instead of Gear Frame. I don't know about that, but maybe he was trying to bait a Cyber Dragon. I think that that's possibly what it is. Pitch Special Fortress. If he has limiter removal, I'm dead. He does not, thank God. So, yeah, no limiter removal. And we've been in this situation before. He's got 2 boys. This might be another argument for, like, side decking Cyber Dragon because it's super good against Machina, and Machina is a little bit annoying to face. It's not the most annoying, but it's a little bit annoying. Go ahead and Rhoda for Yaichi because, duh, obviously, gotta blow up the back row. Normal, special, priority pop, hits the trap stun. Attack over the Gear Frame. Yaichi is just... Yaichi pop, bro. Yaichi snipe, bro. Yaichi destroy. Destroy with Yaichi. Activate Smashing Ground. Set Solemn Judgment. Set Starlight Road. Pass the turn. Now what? Now what do you do? Normal Debris. Bring out Tuning Wear. Try to Synchro. That does not work. Debris Dragon negates the effects of the monster, so his effect is negated, and there's no 5-star Dragon Synchro that you can make with Debris and Tuning Wear in the entire format, so I know you cannot do that. He's forced to 1-for-1, pitch Cyber Valley, bring out Tuning Wear. He's going to Synchro here into Black Rose Dragon. The unfortunate truth of Tuning Wear is the summon has to be successful to get the draw. So if the summon is negated by something like Solemn Judgment or Royal Oppression, you don't get the draw. So it's just a solid Solemn Judgment blowout. Really, really brutal. I told him it's not over. Play it out. His last card is Caius the Shadow Monarch. He has nothing. So it might be over. He has an extra turn. We do end up drawing a bit. I draw for turn. It's Guardian Iatos. I have no monsters in my grave. That's crazy. That's crazy. Tons of damage. 46, 62, 75, 100 damage coming across. I pass the turn back to him. He draws Dust Tornado, and that's going to be all she wrote. So, yeah, incredibly fast deck. If your opponent gives you even one turn or doesn't set back row, or if you just get a little bit of an advantage, you can close out the game very, very quickly. Yeah, 5-0 in little online tournament matches. But the real test is the tournament that you have to pay to enter. That's the real test. Because anyone can enter these 8-mans, right? You got an hour or 2 hours to kill. You want to play in an 8-man. Okay, no big deal. Not very high stakes. It is competitive. You do want to win your games. You do have to play against other people who won their games as well. But it's less stakes than, driving to a local tournament, paying $10, paying whatever, $20, whatever it is. Let's get to the IRL tournament gameplay. I'm sure that's what you guys all want to see. But hopefully these 5 games kind of showcase the strengths of this deck, the speed of it, and all that shit. See you guys in the tournament games. All right, boys, tournament gameplay time. Now, a huge disclaimer before we get into these matches. I did not have all the cards for this deck. So the cards that I was proxying in the deck profile, the third Yaichi, the third hand, the Iroh, the double-edged sword technique, the Great Shogun Shien, etc., had to be filled in with suboptimal cards. And during this tournament, that does come up. And I'll tell you guys when that does come up. But pretty much just a huge disclaimer before we get into these matches. Other than that, though, the deck, first tournament run, let's get right into it. Round 1 is up against Joe, who has beaten me more than usual. He tends to draw Trap Dust Shoot quite a bit. That's the one thing I've noticed about Joe, is that Trap Dust Shoot is glued to his hand. I'm going to skip forward a bit. He opens really, really well against me. This is kind of just like one of those matches where you're just like, you get Yu-Gi-Oh'd, you know what I mean? But yeah, round 1, first time playing with the deck, drawn to our 5 cards. You'll see in my hand I've got Compulsory, Starlight, United. I think I have Grandmaster and a Samurai? Could be wrong. I might not have a Samurai. I might have Iados. He goes for 1/1. He's using the alt art. I comment on how ugly it looks. Gotta tell the opponents. Gotta tell them that the alt art is not legal. He opens up with 1/1 Junk Synchron, so already just like a crazy start. Like literally the best possible start from Frogs. Going first, winning the die roll, that sort of thing. And yeah, he's just able to put it all together. So I'm looking at my hand. I'm like, I can deal with this. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to have to compulsory something. He's going to be able to grab Unifrog next turn. He goes for the soft lock to be able to grab the Unifrog. Kind of tough. I check his grave to see if he's gone through the Unifrog, and he has not. So I draw for turn. You'll see I've drawn a Legacy of Yatagrasu. So in this moment, I have Legacy and I believe Jar of Greed in hand. So 2 cards that shouldn't be in my deck. They should just be monsters. And I would be able to go, if one of them was supposed to be Hand of the 6, I could summon Hand of the 6, special Grandmaster, pop his Substitute with hand, and then run over the Dupe Frog. And so if my deck was correct, I could play through this, but alas, I didn't get the cards in time. So I'm forced to just set my 2 draw traps and hope that they're good enough. So yeah, really, really unfortunate circumstance. Obviously, not getting the cards in time, not having a complete deck, and but it is good to note that in this moment, I would have been able to play through this. He attacks with the Unifrog. I activate the Jar and the Legacy. Once again, 2 cards that are not supposed to be in my deck. I had even used a different Legacy in particular to mark the one that is supposed to be in my deck. So yeah, and here he Dust Shoots me, and I decide I'm not sure whether or not I should show him what I'm on because I don't have a. I think I only have 1 Samurai that I can normal in my hand. So my hand is just completely bricked after this Dust Shoot. So I'm trying to decide if I should keep playing this game out or not. And I decide that because it worked out well in the first match, not first match, but the first match I played online against Frogs to concede before showing him, I decided to just do that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking here. I'm already a little tilted here because I don't have the complete deck, but it is what it is, you know. Sometimes you just got to get a video out, and so you got to play with the cards that you got, and that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, no one in Las Vegas that I hit up had the 6 Samurai cards I needed. Nobody had a Yaichi. Nobody had a hand. Yeah, it was pretty unlucky. As you can see here, I'm siding a ton of cards in, hoping to draw into them. You know the vibes. But you already know, Joe. You already know that Dust Shoot gonna stay glued. You already know what's happening. Yeah, getting Dust Shooted out of the game after like bricking on cards that are not supposed to be in your deck is like, it's frustrating, but you gotta take it for what it is. He might be delivering this deck the first loss here, the first loss ever, Kappa.
So I start off with Gateway, normal summon Spirit, get 2 counters, set back row, and pass the turn. And here I have my turn 1 Dust Shoot, and you can see in his hand, he's got Subsitoad, he's got Evil Guy, and he's got Regeki Break. So I'm not playing through this, basically. He just has the guy to kill my guy. He has a Regeki Break to kill my Gateway. And it's just tough. This is part of the reason why I no longer play Dust Shoot in the deck, or why I wasn't playing it in the deck before, is because it's a trap card that is a 1-for-1 trap card that's not a positive tempo trap card. Like, imagine I had like a D-Prison here. It would be so much better. He would go Subsitoad, Evil Guy, sack all his guys, maybe go for Unifrog and try to attack to pop the gate, and I would D-Prison the Unifrog, and then I'd be in a pretty good spot. Or he'd go into a Duplock, but then I'd also be in a pretty good spot because he'd be forced to like Regeki Break the gate, and I'd still have plays this turn. You know what I mean? So, and I'd have D-Prison to defend myself as well. So, yeah, just really, really unfortunate. I can tell you right now, my hand is bad. It's like Yaichi plus another Cyborg card that's not supposed to be in my deck. I think it's a Fossil Dyna, and I think I have Yaichi and Yaichi. I think I have both my Yaichis in my hand. So, yeah, my hand's pretty bad. And the Dust Shoot here is pretty bad. And this is why I ended up cutting Dust Shoot from the deck. But I go ahead and take... Oh, I have another Spirit. That's what it is. I go ahead and take probably... I think I take the Subsitoad. This is really hard. Because if I take the Treeborn Frog, he has no good discard for Regeki Break. But then he has Ocean Alias. And that like makes the discard free. His hand is just really resilient to Dust Shoot here because he has double Treeborn access, and he has 2 cards that can run over Spirit. So it's like, everything is like, there's no dead cards in his hand. So the Dust Shoot here is just not good. I needed a trap card that could buy me a turn, like a positive tempo trap card. And instead I have Dust Shoot. And after this tournament, probably never going to play Dust Shoot in this deck ever again. I just think it's not good to have negative tempo trap cards like this. Like, I think the trap cards need to do something to take the battle phase away or take the normal summon away. Like, even a Threatening Roar here would have been better. He sets the Regeki Break, and yeah, I'm just cooked. I am forced to summon Yaichi, try to activate the Gateway to take off 4 counters, and he's going to Regeki Break it. I'll just pass. He draws for turn. He can bring out the Treeborn if he wants to. He's just going to summon Ocean, run over our guy. You can see I have Dyna in hand, and Dyna's just not supposed to be in this deck. Once again, I talked about it in the deck profile. It's supposed to be the Great Shogun Shien, which obviously would be a dead card here, but, you know. We do draw into D-Fissure, we do draw into hand. We are able to run over the Ocean and banish it, but it might be too little too late if I don't find a way to get rid of this alias, a Grandmaster or an Iados or something. Pretty unlucky, 30%er to not open those cards, and he has Ryza, and that's going to wrap this game up. So, yeah, I reveal the top few cards, and we just lose pretty quick. So, pretty insane to have Dust Shoot turn 1 on the play, going first with Gateway, and still lose. But that's just because the cards in my deck are not supposed to be the cards in my deck. Like, Dust Shoot's just not supposed to be in my deck, and Fossil Dyna's just not supposed to be in my deck. They're supposed to be different cards, so pretty unfortunate. He had a pretty good hand both games. He had a great hand going second, and sometimes that's just Yu-Gi-Oh, you know? Sometimes you have it, and sometimes you don't. All right, moving on. Round 2. Let's see if I can get fucked by not having the right amount of cards in my deck yet again. Once again, man, the video would be such a banger if we had the right deck, but alas, here it is. Game 1 there definitely would have been different in the last match. Game 2, I think we still would have lost even with the right cards. However, I don't know. What is going on with the quality? What just happened, bro? Give me the nice shit. Okay, there we go. YouTube, man. All right. I do win a die roll, finally, which is a rare occurrence for your boy. Skip forward a bit so we can get into the game. And as you can see here, I've opened with the rare triple Iados hand. I set a 6 Samurai just to have one on board, and I pass the turn. He's going to draw for turn. He's got a bunch of removal spells, so this isn't going to be the crazy pressure it looks like. He sets Raiko, and I believe he sets a D-Prison and passes. I draw for turn. I'm going to flip Spirit of the 6. He has to read it because nobody knows what this card does. I normal summon Yaichi. I activate Yaichi effect to target his back row. And he is going to chain it. It's Regeki Break. So He is playing, I believe, it's like a Diva hero. My opponent here is, I believe his name's Pedro. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I believe he's playing Diva hero with like Raikos, which is working out pretty well for him here. He's able to clear 2 Yados. He's gonna take a little bit of damage, not a ton of damage, but a little bit, and then we're gonna set a back row and pass. I equip the Yaichi. He's got Dust Shoot in hand, which is just dead. He goes for charge, and that's going to be able to find him the 3rd Raiko, provided he doesn't mill it. And he doesn't mill it, so he's going to be able to search the 3rd Raiko, and all 3 Iados are going to be answered for without him taking too much damage. So even though we opened pretty busted here, we weren't able to open up with hand or Iroh to be able to deal with the Raiko. And so the Iados pressure kind of fell a little bit flat. But, you know, it is what it is. Draw for turn. He sets. I go ahead and activate United. I use the Spirit effect to special summon itself, so this is how you can gain 2 counters. I use Yaichi to try and target the back row, and I pop it, and it's Trap Dust Shoot. I normal summon another Spirit. I get 2 counters. I'm able to draw 2 cards here, and that's pretty good. I go for Upstart, so he's going to gain some of that life points back. He's already over 8,000, I believe. I could be wrong, because the Yaichi couldn't attack the last turn. I equip Spirit to Spirit in order to run over the presumed set Raiko. I attack. Raiko's going to target Yados, and Spirit's going to draw me a new card. So he's going to mill 3 new cards. He's not going to use his Necrogarna to protect the Raiko, so it tells me maybe he doesn't have Caius, but who knows. I set 2 new back row and pass. I think I have Road plus like one of the Legacies or something like that. He summons Armageddon Knight, he uses the effect, and yeah, that's just going to have to work. You can see he milled a Stratos, and he milled a Mystic Tomato, and he's sending Malicious, so it's definitely some type of Diva hero deck with Armageddons, multiple Armageddons. He tries to attack the Aichi, but I use Compulsory to bounce it because I just have no way to get over an Armageddon Knight right now. I need to be able to unequip the Spirit and equip the new Spirit to the Yaichi and have an 1800 monster to be able to run it over. But yeah, I draw into the 3rd Spirit, which is a little bit annoying. I equip the Yaichi, I attack for 1,000, and then I attack for 1,800. Oh no, I don't attack for 1,800 because I'm playing around Gores, I think. Maybe not. I just shoot him here, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? All 3 Raikos are gone, but I can't get over Hamster, and that'll allow him to pivot into Caius, which beats me. So I can't really let him keep the Hamster because it just completely stonewalls us. I could take the Armageddon. That gives him Plague access, but I might be able to stop what his Synchro is, or I might be able to like prevent him from going for a Synchro play. Like maybe he doesn't want to full commit. I don't know. Maybe I should have just taken the Armageddon Knight. I was just a little bit like, if I'm going to top deck something to out the Hamster, it's going to out whatever he makes off of Plague Malicious, but Plague Malicious is going to set him back pretty far if he makes that. He goes for Armageddon Knight. He sends, I believe, Plague here. Even though all 3 Raikos are gone, the Hamster was still annoying. We still couldn't get over it. He uses Malicious, special summons Malicious, stacks for Plague, specials Plague, and then I think he makes Thought Ruler because he's seen Compulsory and he's like trying to play around Compulsory, which makes sense. It just makes sense. But I've got Solemn Judgment, so I'm able to Solemn there. I know his last card is probably Trag Caius, right? But he's got Necrogarna, so he can always defend the Armageddon Knight, then pivot into Caius, and we'll probably lose. So even though we had a solid start this game, he was able to leverage like a lot of spot removal to keep himself in the game. I draw United. I put 1 counter on the United. I am thinking here, I should equip the other one to the Aichi, but I mean, this is just going to get me owned by Caius, right? Like, I have to launch and try to hit something. I declare an attack on the Armageddon Knight. He ends up using the Necrogarna to try and pivot into Caius. I just passed the turn. I didn't draw a hand. I didn't draw a Rhoda. I didn't draw really anything useful there, so he goes ahead and sacks for Caius, targets the Aichi, and then he runs over Spirit, and now we're at 0 cards, and this is really where you don't want to be with 6 Samurai. This is the point where Double-Edged Sword Technique is really good, but we don't have it, so we don't really have that powerful top deck. He attacks, I flip Mirror Force, so pretty decent draw. He sets his own back row, I just pass the turn. I've drawn, I believe, Road and looks like Iroh, but my life points are very low here, so if he's able to put up even a little bit of a threat, he flips return, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be game. I don't have anything to stop this. Even the monsters in play are lethal. Let's see how he wants to go for it. It maybe give me information for what's in his deck and what type of plays he wants to make in the future. So pretty cool deck. I do like his deck a lot. I think Raikou in Diva Hero is a little bit underexplored because this deck, like, Diva Hero is a little bit fragile to things like Royal Oppression, and sometimes it has trouble getting the Grave set up. In, like, some of your more Brick Tans, too, where you have, like, Double Miracle and no way to set it up, Raikou is, like, a one card way to get Miracle Fusion live if you're lucky. So, I do like his deck. I think his deck is actually quite good. I'm like, kind of impressed by it. It's something that I've tried in the past, and it's something that I've had some results with in the past, and it's something that, I have played against in the past as well, but I'm surprised it's not really like more commonly adopted because I think like just the ability to set up like Miracle Fusions with a Raikou it's pretty strong, right? All right, moving into sideboard games, we were able to bring in some very good cards in this matchup because I do have all 3 D-Fissure and I do have all 3 Smashing Ground, so yeah, we do have a great sideboard for this matchup. Once again, another matchup where Dimensional Fissure gets sided in. Probably should just be in the main, right? Like every single matchup so far, it's gotten sided in. You know the vibes. All right, cut the decks, etc., etc. Draw the hands, and I'm looking at my hand, and I think it's pretty good. I think I've got Compulsory. I think I've got I don't know what else I've got, but I've got Iados. I've got hand. I've got set 3. I think it's double Compulsory, Starlight Road, and I've got Iados as well. So this is 4,100 points of pressure, and he's got, I'm not even sure what he's got going on there, but yeah, 4,100 points of pressure and double Compulsory. So if he's normal summon reliant, we're just going to win this one, and I can play into Mirror Force because of the road. So yeah, activate Upstart, draw a new card, activate Gateway, normal summon Yaichi, try to use Yaichi's effect to pop. He's going to chain Space Typhoon on the Gateway. A little bit annoying, but I'm okay with it. Sack to pop his set Hamster, attack for 41, or just attack for 16 and pass. I maybe thought about Gores there. Yeah. He's going to normal Armageddon Knight. This is fine. He sends Mally. I'm like, okay. He has to have, like, I don't know, something pretty good to get this all going. I attack the Armageddon Knight. That's going to die. I attack for 16. That's going to happen. I set a new back row and pass. He's got Deep Sea Diva in his hand, but yeah, he's going to have trouble playing through double Compulse. Just because I can put back Mally, and then if he has a way to get another non-tuner into play, I can put that back too. And it's not going to put it in the grave, so he can't like Miracle to extend or anything. Which is nice. And even if he could, I could just Compulse the Absolute Zero and the Starlight Road its effect. Yeah, we're going to Compulse the Mally here. He decides not to use the Diva to play around Rug, which is smart because I do side Rug in this deck. He decides to concede the game because he's dead to the pressure on board. And that just shows that, like, if you just have a simple, like, Iados plus 1,500 plus guy plus Compulsory plus, like, anything else over the course of the game, it's usually enough to just win. So, yeah, going into game 3, we are going second. I decide to switch up my sideboard plan a little bit more, but more or less it's going to be the same. His deck is cool. I do like his deck quite a bit. Let's skip forward. It's something I do want to try moving forward. I actually really like these leagues because everyone tries really cool decks, and it gives me cool ideas to play on the channel. We were also discussing another deck after this, which is like a gadget deck with Obelisk the Tormentor in it, which is definitely something I want to try. Yeah, so here we open up Upstart. He starts at 9k. Draw a card. It looks like Compulsory Evacuation Device, so best card in our deck is in my hand type shit. Yeah, pretty simple. I lead with United, trying to bait Space Typhoons, because I think I have Rug and, I'm not sure what else I have. He's asking me how it works, I think. I don't really remember, but yeah. So I activate the United, normal Iroh, get a counter. Now Iroh's going to be enough to beat over this Armageddon Knight. I activate the D-Fissure last, because if he has something like, let's say he has something like, how do I say this, like Bottomless Trap Hole, he might not use it on my Iroh. He might just be like, oh, 1,700 monster. He ends up booking the Iroh to preserve his Armageddon Knight. And I have Compulsory, so I can rebalance my Iroh to get a second counter on that United, which is nice. So we're going to trade -1 interactions there a little bit. I think my set cards are compulsory plus bottomless. I don't think I have road, but I might have road this game. I could be wrong. I don't really remember. It's been a few days since I played these matches. He summons Mystic Tomato, and that makes me happy because it's just another card that Iroh can get over, and that Defissure kind of shuts off. We will take 2,800, which is very real damage, and we will be kind of put back foot here, but at least we'll get the double United draw. So there's that. And it looks like I do have Iados in hand, and there's a second United, which is really, really nice. So now even if he has Space Typhoon, I will eventually get to another United. I draw into Rhoda and another normal summon Samurai. I special summon Guardian Iatos, and you can see the power already. I attack the Mystic Tomato, and that's going to go through. He's going to take 300. And I attack the Armageddon Knight. He's going to take 1,100. So, pretty solid stuff here. We got the biggest monsters in play. We got the Floodgate. We got our draw engine online. We've got a back row, which I think is Starlight Road. I'm not really sure. I don't really remember. Anyway, he's going to go for a normal Diva, and he is going to use the effect. Did I not have a Pulling the Rug? I thought I had a Pulling the Rug, but I don't remember. Maybe don't have a Pulling the Rug. He's going to summon another Diva, and then he's going to use the Malicious. 1,000% certain that's happening. Yep, so there's the Malicious use. Malicious is going to get him into Mali, and he's going to synchro here into, I believe, Thought Ruler. Yeah, I think it's Thought Ruler. He was doing it to play around the compulses, which I think is smart. Plus, Thought Ruler has synergy with his deck that he told me later on. Like, he plays like viruses. He asked me if he can switch one of the Divas to defense that he summoned, and I said, that's totally fine. Like, not a big deal. I don't think it's going to change this game that much. He attacks the Iroh, deals 1,000, but he doesn't get to gain life points because, once again, like, it needs to send to the graveyard to get the effect. So, yeah. He does have the Thought Ruler Archfiend, though, set up. We go for the Rhoda. I search for Hand of the Six. Now, if I could just find a Grandmaster here, I might have even already found one. I'm not even sure. Let me see my hand. I think I do already have it. I might have been sandbagging a little bit. Oh, I upstart now. Maybe I don't have it yet. So, yep. Upstart. What am I thinking about here? I think I have a Yaichi. I'm thinking about normal Yaichi and launch the United to try and hit Grandmaster. Yeah, I don't already have the Grandmaster. So I normally Yaichi because I can't afford to waste the Hand of the Six. And even if I have the Hand of the Six, like, it's fine. He's forced to attack Yaichi this turn because he knows about the Hand of the Six. I draw Solemn Mirror Force. So, 6 Samurai United just being insanely broken. Set the 2, the Solemn Mirror Force, and I set one other card. I forget what it is. Probably a road or something. Maybe not a road. Maybe it's like a blank. It might be a bluff. I'm not even sure. I don't remember. I don't remember how this game goes. I'll be honest. I just don't. I do know I have Mirror Force set, so that's pretty lit. He attacks. I've got the Mirror Force, and that's just going to beat Thought Ruler. So Mirror Force showing its power here yet again. He sets 2 new back row and passes the turn with a monster set as well. But we do have Hand of the Six, and we do have Yaichi, and now we've finally taken control of the game. Plus, we find Gateway off the top, which is very nice. Normal hand, get 2 counters, activate Yaichi, targets certain card. He's going to chain Skill Drain. So he brought in Skill Drain to sort of fight our monsters, but most of our monsters do pretty well under Skill Drain. I mean, hand can just sack itself to pop something. Grandmaster will still get all his effects. And in fact, if Grandmaster's effect is negated, I'm not certain about this, but I think you might be able to control more than one of him if Skill Drain is face up. I could be wrong about that, but I think that is the case. So you can just special a bunch of Grandmasters and kind of rush people down that way. That being said, we haven't drawn Grandmaster, so it's not really that big of a deal. But I just let Skill Drain resolve because I'm like, okay, now your set monster has no effect, so like I don't even really care. Turns out it's a Goblin Zombie, but obviously under Defissure it's not going to do anything. So it looks like he's playing Diva Hero Zombies with Raiko Hamster in it, and that's pretty cool. I said Yaichi can't attack because I did use the effect, and I believe that still lingers under Skill Drain. So yeah, I just attack with the Hand of the Six. He activates the Lair of Darkness, Blind. He finds Kaya's Heavy Storm. He's going to try to flip Return from the Different Dimension, but we have Solemn Judgment, and that's going to be the game. So yeah, because that's going to put him too low. He flips Return, and there's Solemn Judgment, and he's like, ah, fuck. And he points to the Yaichi. I don't know why. He shows that he did have Heavy Storm and that he should have gone for it to bait the Solemn Judgment, but I did have Starlight Road, and that's going to be the match. So we do end up winning that one pretty easily. Not pretty easily. It was a tough grind, but game 3, we were able to clutch up. Dimensional Fissure definitely was clutch, I guess, was important, Dude, I don't know how to tell you what Dimensional Fissure was. It was good. It was broken. I don't know what you guys want to hear. Dimensional Fissure plus Beat Sticks it beats decks that need the graveyard. I don't know what to say. Clutch Solemn and Mirror Force off the top from that United, but that's the strength of this deck, is it like kind of churns through its deck pretty quickly. Deck thins, it draws cards with United, so you're going to see some of your power cards pretty consistently. All right, round 3 is up against a really interesting Dark Samorg deck. So we're both at 1-1 here. And she's playing this really sick Dark Samorg deck. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. I feel really bad about it, but it's a deck that she says she built herself, which is really sick, and it gave me a lot of ideas for another video. You know what I mean? Like, just a really, really cool deck. I got a chance to look at it after the match, but it's like a Harpy, like, malicious Grepher Armageddon Knight Dark Samorg deck. And turn 1, it can get Dark Samorg like pretty consistently, because you can use like Armageddon or Grepher to send it, and then you just banish cards from hand to get it in play. And even though it's -1, if you're locking out like 2 or 3 trap cards or a Raikou or something like that, like the Dark Samorg is going to be good enough to win the game. So it's really interesting. You guys will see it work, I think, in the next game. I do have to explain all of the cards to her because she's never played against 6 Samurai before or whatever, but so this might take a little while. And as a result, I choose not to use as many effects as I probably could have this game for literally no reason other than I just want to not have to explain as much as possible. But yeah, I use the United here to draw 2. I search hand. You know, I'm already super, super ahead. I've started the game with 8 cards, so the cards in play, I forgot to even equip the Spirit because I'm just like so far ahead that I'm like, yeah, I can't possibly lose this. When you open like this, when you open like Gateway United Guy Grandmaster, it's like, the game usually just ends. Here comes Charge of Light Brigade. It's going to build Dark Samorg, Foolish, and Harpy's Hunting Ground. So I'm kind of getting an idea of what the deck looks like now. And it's going to be actually pretty hard to deal with the Harpy's Hunting Ground in some of the later games. It's really good against us. It pops gateways. It pops like things through Starlight Road. It works even through like stuff like Compulsory, etc. So yeah, it's a pretty good card against Samurai, I would say. Anyway, she searches for Raikou. Her hand's a little bit slower. She's forced to set the Raikou, and I'm just like, yeah, this one's duns. This one's duns. So I draw for turn. I should have equipped the Spirit, because then I'd be able to unequip the Spirit and like get another Gateway Search, but it doesn't even fucking matter. So I'm saying I'm going to use priority, use the hand, and then I'm asking if she wanted to respond to that with anything. And she says, yes, I did want to chain Bottomless Trap Hole, because that is still in the summon window. So because Gateway doesn't start a chain, I can summon hand, priority sack the Spirit, pop the set monster, and then she can chain Bottomless to that because it's all still in the summon window. I attack for 2100 and then pass a turn. But yeah, looking pretty far ahead here. Dark Samorg would still be a little bit annoying, but I think my back row deal with it. So yeah, there's a Samorg in the grave. So Wind into Dark getting banished here could be problematic, but I think I do have a Bottomless or something like that. I don't fucking remember, but if you have 2 trap cards and one of them doesn't beat a Samorg, what are you doing with your life? You know what I'm saying? I do believe Samorg's effect in the grave does start a chain in Edison format, so I do believe I wouldn't be able to Solemn it if that's what I have. She flips Anti-Spell Fragrance, which normally would be like bad for me, like pretty hard for me to deal with, especially with all this Gateway United stuff, if she's going first or whatever, but because I've already got my Gateway in play, it's like not even that big of a deal. And Gateway can search for Kimon, and Kimon can pop it if I really need to. I attack the set monster, I use Iroh's effect to pop without it flipping, and then I attack for 21. So yeah, just damage coming across. I've now dealt 42, but I've given her 1,000 with Upstart, so 32. She should be at 48, which is pretty good. We can't activate any spell cards here, but I don't even think I have any. I think I just set another card and pass. Yeah. I don't even use the Gateway because I'm just like trying to save up counters to go for game next turn if she doesn't have a way to put some Morgan play, or if she does have a way to put Smorg in play, I want to be able to pump up one of my monsters to run over the Smorg, basically, with the gateway pump effect. So that's why I saved the counters here. But these are just like kind of the auto win hands from Samurai, where you just start with so many cards that your opponent gets overwhelmed, and then you're able to like constantly get effects off like this. So yeah, normal Kamon, I attack with everything for game, but she has Magic Cylinder, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. I allow it to go through, even though I think I have Solemn, I'm not really sure, but I allow it to go through just because I wanted to see more of the deck before sighting, because I'm like 99.9% certain we're winning this one. So the information gained by prolonging the game is actually quite useful. She summons Cyber Harpy Lady, and I'm like, alright, we'll just use Bottomless. Don't want to lose to like a random Icarus situation, random whatever situation. So I did end up having Bottomless. At this point, I think we win game 1. I'm not really sure. Do we win game 1? I don't remember. She just passes. We draw for turn, normal Yaichi, and then just attack with everything, and that's going to be the game. Even if she had put the Samorg in play, it doesn't matter. We can just run it over with the gateway pump effect. So I think that's... She was thinking about not showing more of her deck, and just, like, seeing more of ours, and then basically conceding, but forcing me to go through the motions type shit. Sideboarding here, I didn't side in D-Fissures. I didn't side in Smashing Grounds going into game 2. Which is a clear error on my part, like just a mistake. I got a little bit too comfortable, a little bit too confident after I opened the nuts game 1, but I definitely should have sided a little bit to deal with Dark Samorg, because as you can see in my hand here, I've got quite a few trap cards. I've got 3 trap cards, and I've got a monster and a spell, and she's going to start off with Armageddon Knight, and Armageddon Knight's going to send Dark Samorg, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Instantly 3 of the cards in my hand are just completely dead. Like, you can't play trap cards under Dark Samorg, so yeah, pretty crazy. Pretty difficult situation to be put under, like, almost immediately. And if there's an anti-spell fragrance, I'm probably just dead lost. So banishes Greffer and Cyber Harpy Lady, and I've learned more about the deck. I draw into a Guardian Iados, but Guardian Iados isn't going to be enough to run over Dark Samorg, so I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. What am I going to do? There's 6 Sam United. I'm going to get 1 counter. I'm going to special summon Guardian Iados. I'm going to attack over Armageddon Knight. She's going to take 1100, and I pass the turn. I'm basically just hoping she misplays and attacks the Iados, and I top deck into hand. Or Rhoda, or something like that. Because that's my only way to win this game. But as it stands, it's not looking good for the home team here. Guardian Iados, powerful secret rare from Stardust Overdrive. But Dark Samorg, a slightly more powerful secret rare from Stardust Overdrive in terms of attack stats. She uses Gale to half the Yaichi. She attacks over the Yaichi. Probably could have halved the Iados and then just killed both. I don't know if it's... I think it's more damage to do it this way, though. I think she made the right decision. So, yeah, this clears both our boards. And even if we drew hand here, we would be kind of cooked. I draw into Spirit. I do this to launch the United. I draw 2 more trap cards. So you can see me fan out my hand. It's 5 trap cards against an active Samorg. And I'm just like, oh my god. What is happening? What is it? This can't be real life. What is going on? Just turn 1 Dark Samorg. I'm like, that's pretty scary, actually. Like just thinking about it, like, how consistently you can turn 1 Dark Samorg in, like, a deck like this. It's pretty scary. I can't lie. And then I was also thinking about him, like, Harpy Queen is like a wind that auto goes to the grave. So even if you draw like Armageddon plus Harpy Queen plus Samorg, you can special the Samorg from hand by like pitching Harpy Queen to search the thing. And then the Hunting Ground actually makes the Dark Samorg 2900, which in the past, the biggest weakness with Dark Samorg is actually its stat line. It's like awkwardly statted, where Goyo Guardian can run over it and then take it, and then it can turn the Floodgate effect against you. However, with Harpy Hunting Ground in play, it becomes 2900, so Goyo Guardian can't even steal it. So I'm like, oh, that's actually really smart. So this deck is pretty cool. I do like the concept of mixing the Armageddon Knights, the Dark Greffers, with the Harpy stuff. I had never thought to do it. I draw into a 6 trap card, and I'm like, all right, I concede. Nicely done, nicely done. She shows me a little bit of like, yeah, you were never winning this. She showed me the DD Crow, kind of flexing on me. I'm like, all right, I got to bring in these Smashing Grounds. This fucking Samorg shit is going to beat my ass. So, Yeah, a little bit of a humbling defeat there. I'm like, ah, shit. Ah, shit, I actually have to sideboard here. God damn it. So I bring in some D-Fissures, I bring in some Smashing Grounds, probably shit that should just be in my main deck on God, because I'm siding in it against everything. And I open up pretty strong. I've got D-Fissure, set, back row, and pass. So I've got the D-Fissure, and I've got Dust Shoot, which, once again, maybe shouldn't be in my deck, but it works out well this game. I'm able to take the Cyber Harpy Lady. She's got the Hunting Ground, so she would be able to Hunting Ground, summon Harpy Lady, and pop my D-Fissure for free. So, yeah, I got to use the Dust Shoot to take the Harpy Lady there. Thankfully, the Dust Shoot does work out, even though it didn't work out in the first match, which is, obviously the most important one is winning round 1, right? Like, you don't want to drop to the X1 bracket, really. But, yeah, we take the Cyber Harpy Lady, so now her hand is a little bit mixed up. The D-Fissure is going to stop both the Crow and the Armageddon Knight and the 2 Dark Symbolics that are in her hand. And she's got the Harpy's Hunting Ground, but she just sets a monster and passes. I think she set the DD Crow, I could be wrong. But, yeah, I've got double Gateway, so, the deck just performs, obviously. And we already have the Grandmaster, so it's like, what can you do? You know what I mean? What can you do? I do burn this Gateway's effect to search another Grandmaster. So, like, next turn I have hand Grandmaster to come back if I need it. I've also got Call the Haunted in hand, which I probably should have sided out when I sided in this D-Fissure. I decided not to equip the hand because I wanted to deal 500 damage. Set back row, pass. I was just wondering if I could win here even without the hand being equipped. She does find the Harpy Queen, which will allow her to activate Harpy's Hunting Ground and pop the D-Fissure, and I'm like, God damn it. Now I'm kind of like getting owned. She attacks over the Spirit of the Six, and I'm like, man, I should have just equipped. I don't know what I'm thinking. I think my brain's on autopilot because I have double Gateway. I got to stop just like dicking around, man. I got to take these games more seriously. I'm going to play another tournament with this deck and record it because, it's vibes. I drew another D-Fissure, which obviously is busted, so. And it's going to be important here and crucial. I sack the Grandmaster to pop the Harpy Queen, special summon another Grandmaster. Activate a Gateway to add a hand. Activate the Gateway to add a Grandmaster from my deck. So now I have hand Grandmaster backup just in case. If, for whatever reason, I had to send that Harpy Queen to the graveyard, things could have got dicey. Things could have got really dicey. Attack with both, pass the turn, but yeah, D-Fissure is just going to be enough to close this game out. So definitely got to play D-Fissure in the main. Her deck is really cool. I do like her deck a lot. I think she just kind of got D-Fissured out, which is really unfortunate. It's unfortunate to have a cool deck and, like, have it work one game and then have it not work the other games, but I'm definitely going to try something like this. And shout out to her for building a cool deck, honestly. I think it's tight how Edison format is like that, I attack with everything for game, that's going to be that, so. Yeah, and noticing the games where my deck is working, I'm not bricking on the cards that aren't supposed to be in my deck. I'm like drawing the hands of the 6. I'm drawing the Yaichis, etc. Obviously, the draw traps are the worst part because they aren't supposed to be in my deck. They're supposed to be different cards. So 2-1 so far, which isn't bad. Let's move on to the final round of this tournament. Usually the locals, because the store has to close at a certain point, they just do 4 rounds in standing, which is like fine. Shout out to Night and Day Games once again. And for a half-finished deck, or I shouldn't say half-finished deck, I believe I was missing 7 cards for this tournament. I believe I was missing Yaichi. I was missing like several of the sideboard cards. I was missing the double-edged sword technique. I was missing one hand of the 6. I was missing the other sideboard cards I had planned on playing, which was another double-edged sword technique. Why is YouTube doing me like this, bro? Just give me the 1080, bro. Why is it doing me like that, bro? I got fiber internet. I do not need this shit. All right. And the final round is going to be up against that boy. Shout him out. He's got Vayu Turbo, and I've got 6 Samurai. So, finally some bird matchup. I think the Vayu Turbo matchup or the Raikou decks with this, the Raikou matchups are really good in general. Because, like, Iroh, Hand, Grandmaster, that sort of stuff. They just cook. They just cook these matchups, but it just depends. But yeah, shout out that boy. Hold on. Very nice opponent. Armageddon Knight, send Vayu. He's going first. I think my hand's pretty bad game 1, but it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. I'm going to activate Gateway, United. He's going to dust shoot me and take my only monster. And I'm just like, shit, I better hit another monster here. I upstart. And I don't hit another monster. I hit Grandmaster. So I'm like, all right, I got to wait. He attacks for 14. And this game's a tragedy. But it's a result of me not having a complete deck. Because I set Legacy of Yada, and that should have been a monster. And if I had had a monster there, I would have been fine. But, yeah, we get dust shooted out of our only monster, so. Yeah, flip the Legacy. You can see in my hand Jar of Greed, so. The cards that aren't supposed to be in my deck lost me this game. I think we go 14 draws in, and we don't see another monster, so. Pretty tough. He goes Heavy Storm. I go Chain Jar. I go Chain Compulsory on a set monster. Don't want to give him the Armageddon back, because then he'll get another effect. But still no monster from us. You can see I'm aggressively shuffling my hand, like, frustrated. Like, just not getting to a monster after getting dust shooted going second. Which is crazy, because we had Gateway United, and had we gone first, we would have just, like, obviously won. But going second, only monster gets dust shooted. That's tough. You know how it goes. Losing the die roll. It is what it is. But the matchup's not bad. We got a good sideboard for it. He's going to send his Sirocco value, and he's going to go for game here. So, yep. That's going to be that. We have pretty good interaction for the Armed Wing plays. We have compulsory and stuff. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about all this. Again, this matchup is good. We just kind of got like 1%ed on it, which is kind of tough. I counted all the cards there. I believe it was 14 cards in. We didn't see another monster, so pretty unlucky. 14 or 13 or something like that. But alas, it is what it is. I side in my D-Fissures. I side in my D-Fissures. And yeah, we just go to the next. Obviously, sometimes that's just going to happen. Sometimes you're just going to get dust shooted. That's kind of the format a little bit. So, good luck. Have fun. I draw into 5. I look at my hand. It's pretty good. I've got Upstart Goblin. I draw into another guy. I'm like, okay, that's sick. I got Spirit Grandmaster. United, draw 2. I draw into D-Fissure, which is really fucking good. So I'm looking at my hand. I got D-Fissure. I think I've got a Yaichi. I've got the Stas. I think I got Rhoda. I can't tell. But my hand is pretty good. He's reading the cards. I'm going to activate D-Fissure. I'm going to set card and pass. I think my set card might be Compulse, but I'm not sure. It might be Road. He passes the turn back to me. Now, D-Prison is always on my radar here. He has to read Gateway of the 6. I'm like, yep, sure. Give him the Gateway. He goes ahead and Dust Tornadoes it on the chain. I summon Yaichi. He checks his back row. I'm going to use priority with Yaichi to target his back row. It's Dust Tornado. He's going to target the D-Fissure. I have a second D-Fissure. I attack with Grandmaster. Raiko has to hit the D-Fissure. So I'm going to draw a card off Spirit. And he's going to mill 3. So the Raiko goes to the grave. Pass the turn back. But I'm just up cards here, like, solidly. He has to T-set and pass. Yaichi pop his back row. It's Mirror Force. He's forced to play it into Yaichi or else. Whatever. I can use hand to pop, or I could get my extra draw. I decided to get my extra draw because he thought a bit before setting his card, so it told me it wasn't Raiko. I attack for 16, pass the turn back. Plus, this hand plays through Gores, so even if he has Gores. Here, I just Yaichi pop the back row. It's Royal Oppression. He chooses not to chain it, which tells me he might have Gores, but it doesn't even matter because we have hand, and I'm up a million cards. I flip Legacy. I find Gate. I activate Gate. Normal Spirit. Get 2 counters. Special Spirit. Equip to hand. I don't know why I did that, actually. He does have Gores, so yeah. Letting the Oppression get popped kind of gave it away. Main phase 2. I use Spirit to special summon, add 4 counters, activate D-Fissure, pop the Gores, keep him off 3 darks, pop the token. And then I decide here if I want to use Gateway. I think I do. I think I do use it just to, in case he finds Heavy Storm. But it's all trivial at this point. He has 1 card. He's drawn to 2. I have like 12. It's like, this game has been like kind of a very one-sided. He goes ahead and brain controls the Grandmaster of the hand. He's asking which one. The hand is equipped by the Spirit, so they're both the same. He decides he wants to take the hand. I'm like, all right, that's chill. He goes ahead and attacks. That's going to kill the spirit, and the spirit doesn't go to the graveyard under or it does go to the graveyard under defissure because it's treated as a spell card. So that's why it goes to the graveyard. We wrote it here, search Yaichi, summon Yaichi, priority pop the back row, and that's going to be all she wrote. So, game 2, Six Samurai does its thing. I mean, like, that's what it's supposed to do in this matchup. Deep Prison, Mirror Force, all those cards you're supposed to ignore. And Raikos are usually, like, you kind of feed off of them with a bunch of your other stuff, whether it's Spirit or whether it's Iroh or whether it's Hand. Like, Raiko is very rarely going to get its value, and Defissure, obviously, is just busted. So, yeah, moving into game 3. Up against Vayu Turbo. Shuffly, 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 shuffly. Another card that's really good in this matchup is Iados, because it runs over all their cast. Runs over Caius and Armed Wing, so that's pretty good. And even if they go into an Armored Master somehow, it still doesn't even get over the Iados. So, yeah. He's going to summon Card Trooper, mill 3. Now, I know my boy who I'm playing against here, he has a YouTube channel. He posts a lot of videos from our locals as well, so make sure and check him out. I'll try and find a link for that and drop it. I don't have it ready offhand, but I'll find a link for it and drop it in the comments below or something like that. But yeah, we open up pretty good. I've got Defissure again, so can't really complain. A lot of broken cards in this matchup. I activate Defissure. That's just going to resolve. And then I set, I think, back row and just pass. I think I just set Starlight Road and pass. I have a good hand. I think I have Iados plus Guy, but I don't want to go for it into a possible Torrential. He can't even activate Card Trooper under Dimensional Fissure, so he has to out the Dimensional Fissure to really threaten us. He might even sack the Card Trooper here for a Caius just to clear the Dimensional Fissure. He decides to attack for just 400 and then pass the turn, and I'm like, oh, okay, say less. Now I activate United, activate another United, activate Gateway, and normal summon Yaichi. So this gets in under Bottomless. I'm going to get my counters, and Gateway can take counters from anywhere on the field. Another thing to note about Gateway is that it can it gains counters when your opponent summons 6 Samurai monsters as well. So if your opponent like Goyo steals your 6 Samurai monster, you'll gain counters on your United and your Gateway the 6. He goes for Bottomless on the Grandmaster, which is fine because we still get the counters, so I'll just search another Grandmaster. So free back row kill, basically. He's like, oh, that's tough. So yeah, we get another Grandmaster, remove all 4, and I think I searched the 3rd Grandmaster here. I could be wrong. Yeah, I searched the 3rd Grandmaster here. Usually always want to be loaded up on Grandmasters just in case something happens to yours, basically. Special Summon Guardian Iados. I attack the Card Trooper. He has D-Prism for the Grandmaster. I attack over the Card Trooper with the Guardian Iados, and he takes 21. Main phase 2, I Special Summon Grandmaster, activate the effects to search, and search hand. I contemplated sandbagging the 3rd Grandmaster, because losing the 3rd Grandmaster is like not great. It's not ideal, but I figured that just having a follow-up summon for next turn is optimal, and putting both into play, making them must-answer threats is where we want to be. He does end up having Space Typhoon on Defissure and then Brain Control, and I'm like, what do you want to Brain Control here? He decides to take Iados because it's the strongest monster, which makes sense. He attacks the Yaichi, which puts a monster in my grave, but we can always get that back with Gateway to clear the way for another Iados. He hands the Iados back and passes the turn. Here, I just normal summon Spirit, get 4 counters, so we top deck Spirit at some point. If he has Torrential, we can just add back the Grandmaster. I decide to equip the Spirit, but this does play into D-Prison. I attack with Iados. He thinks and takes 25. I think he probably has a D-Prison here, and he does, which kind of sucks, but it's fine. Just pass the turn back. I'll leave the counters in play because next turn I'm looking to draw 4. He flips return, but it only has 1 target. It's Card Trooper, so he's going to bring back Card Trooper, mill 3, and he's going to miss on his mills. So even though he did hit a Vayu the first time, he's going to have to crash this Card Trooper, take 600, draw a card to try and stay in this game. Sets a monster, sets a back row, passes. I draw for turn. I have the normal summon hand, and I just get to draw fucking a million, so it doesn't even fucking matter. He's thinking here. He's thinking really hard here. I'm not sure if he has Solemn Judgment. That's why I was like not adding the counters yet. If he has Solemn, then I won't get the counters, but he just lets it happen. So all the counters get added. I just decide to cash in my United at this point. Just draw 4. Fuck it. I draw into Heavy Storm. I draw into Upstart Goblin. I use Gateway to add back Yaichi to my hands. I go ahead and activate the Heavy Storm in case he has... So the reason I use the Gateway here is because I have Heavy Storm and I have Starlight Road set. And if he has a chainable, like let's say he has like something that stops the Heavy... Or that he can chain to the Heavy Storm, I won't be able to Road. And then I will have burned my gateway counters for no reason, but I'm pretty sure his back row is Torrential Tribute, and that's what he was thinking about. So here I just decide to activate Heavy Storm. He has no response. I chain Starlight Road. I bring out Stardust Dragon, and he tries to Torrential, but you can't actually Torrential there because Stardust is summoned Chain Link 2. Since Starlight Road only negates the effects, it doesn't negate the activation. I attack the set with Stardust Dragon. He mills only, but both my monsters are lethal, and so even though he did hit the Necro Gardener there, it was not going to be enough to keep him alive. So Heavy Storm showing its worth, and we end up going 3-1 in the tournament, and I think we placed like the third or something like that, which is pretty good, honestly. Losing the first round obviously does not feel great, but overall, the deck performed. Even though I was missing like 7 cards, the deck did look pretty strong in moments, and honestly, like, seeing it perform this well against like Value Turbo, seeing it perform that well against like some pretty difficult situations like the Diva Hero deck, the deck seems solid. The deck seems solid. Obviously, the worst matchup with this deck is going to be Black Wings. I think that's going to be the hardest matchup. That and like maybe like Frogs if they open the absolute nuts, like 1-for-1 Dust Shoot type shit with like Regeki breaks and whatnot. But I think against specifically Black Wings, it's going to be the hardest one because they have Icarus attack. So, yeah, definitely another matchup where D-Fissure puts in a lot of work is Black Wings because it shuts off Kalut, it makes their Blizzards worse, it makes their Icarus worse. It's just really good against Black Wings. It makes Dad worse, Value worse. It makes it so Shura doesn't get its effect. Yeah, and D-Fissure makes it so your Iados is kind of like king of the hill. They have to like do a lot of work just to get over the Iados. They have to commit like 2 cards or whatever. So, yeah, I think that's probably the worst matchup. But overall, I do think the deck is like, it can definitely keep up with meta decks, especially like the ones that we played against multiple times. I mean, I'm ending this video at 8-1 with the deck just from the matches I showed you. And the other matches I played with the deck I won, but they weren't like quote unquote tournament matches, so I figured not to include them. But yeah, I think if you can improve the Blackwing matchup with the sideboard a little bit, maybe the last 2 cards go to improve the Blackwing matchup, and then that's that. I mean, the deck is a meta deck. I mean, like it's very broken. I think Gateway and United are just insane cards, and Guardian Iados picks up a lot of the slack that the deck I feel was kind of missing. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. There's definitely going to be a lot of this deck in the future, so yeah, just for the mirror match, keep in mind that when your opponent summons a Samurai, your cards will also get counters. Your United, your Gateway will also get counters, so keep that in mind. And I'll see you guys in future videos. Don't forget to sign up for RBET LA before it is sold out. Much love. Peace.